Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Gamers Parley. Tonight, we were supposed to have a bigger cast, but unfortunately, we had some of our porters busy with some deliveries and couldn't make it. But we do have, once again with us, Ashler and, of course, the OG, Johnny. Today's episode is, I
We have
guess,
D-Dog as well.
Sorry? Oh, we do. Oh, G-Dog. Yeah, well, makes sense. 9 years, dude. I'm afraid it's been 9 years. So I feel old. Fuck, it's been 9 years. Um,
Mate, you are old.
yeah, I am actually. The my on my birthday and my
Look at
office,
that skin.
they put up, holy shit, you're old. I was like, that makes sense. But yeah, today's episode is gonna be more about just discussing what we want. Another Kojima episode, what we want from DS2, gameplay wise. I know we did a very deep dive on the trailer analysis, which was a lot of fun. I think our longest episode too, it was like 2.5 hours. It was fun. So yeah, we just wanna discuss what we want, like the changes we want in the gameplay for the next iteration. Apparently Ashler has a whole list, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see
I
what
think we're
that.
ready for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could call it a list. It's a tangle.
A tome.
So-
Well, yeah, it's just hopefully it's organized enough so and I can talk about it. So,
yeah, yeah.
but cool.
Um, but we're in that phase now where we're like almost between 6 to 9 months of release, I think, because it's releasing next year, but from what I'm thinking, it might be like a March release, maybe the end of before the end of the fiscal year. If not, probably gonna be summer because no one wants to fuck with GTA 6 and fall because they don't want to be anywhere close to that.
It'd
And
be stupid to.
yeah, basically. But yeah, I think that's where it is. And with TGS, we know that Kojima is already attending Tokyo Game Show this year. The whole cast, and um, that definitely means something's happening before that. Probably there are rumors of a state of play happening this month, probably before the
Mm.
mid of this month, which will make sense because if they have like a new trailer or something and then they bring on the new cast at Tokyo Game Show to talk about that, and we see like a Japanese version, like he did in the previous for DS1 when he had the Tokyo Game Show presentation, he played the same trailers and also had some new clips. The Higgs trailer, I remember the little clip where he showed Higgs for the first time. So I'm thinking we're gonna see something like that. Probably a gameplay trailer if we're nearing release. But yeah, some things. I mean, we for sure know within the next 25 days or something, we'll have new Death Stranding stuff. So that's good. But what do you guys think? How long to go to release? What's gonna happen?
Johnny?
So yeah, the game is going to release only when I buy a PS5.
That's not
Been
happening ever.
discussing this for 3 years. So if someone wants to buy me one, the game will come out straight away. Otherwise, we're probably looking at Halloween next year, maybe.
Halloween. Okay. All right.
What what time of the month did the first one come out?
I think
November 8th.
November,
November
beginning of
8th.
November.
Uh, uh, okay, cool. All right. Yeah, that would still work.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, cool. Yeah.
Mm,
I I don't know myself. Uh, I know that I want to see more of just of it to see where it's at to kind of
yeah.
gauge with that.
Mhm.
I'm kind of hoping that it might. I want it sooner rather than later to a certain degree, but I also, let it cook if it needs to, so we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
get it well polished and
Mm-hmm.
any extra content. Because I don't know if he's going to do a director's cut again for this one, or just
Okay.
no, this do all of it in one go instead of
Yeah.
putting it on the back end. But I don't know. Hideo is like creator of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff, in my opinion. Like with what is it? The Metal Gear VR missions, and I think it was called something else elsewhere,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was the first person to do like the DLC or like the 2.0 version of a game. So
Yeah. I mean, I hope there's no more directors. You dropped the fox.
Special missions in Italy.
Nah.
yes, that's what it was called. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's
So
he's okay. He
Yeah.
survived.
fox. Man, I miss this guy. I hope he shows up. I mean, I hope they remake the first one too, as they're making Delta. Hopefully it goes well. But yeah,
Onto that later.
director's cut. I think all the director's cuts that came out recently was more like the transition from PS4 to PS5, just the enhancements like Ghost of Tsushima director's cut, Last of Us Part 2 remastered, and Death Stranding
Right.
director's cut. It was more like, just to have that PS5 version as well
Right.
and
Right.
just add a little bit of content on there.
Yeah.
But
Kojima's are a little bit different than other
yeah,
ones though. He does like goes the extra mile for his.
yeah,
I haven't played the director's cut of Death Stranding yet. I have it, but there's a lot of cool things supposedly in there that I haven't messed with. So I may be stepping on toes with my list here that I have.
yeah. Did you
It,
finish DS1 yet?
yeah, I finished on the four, but I haven't played
Yeah.
the the fifth one
Nice.
I think last time we spoke,
or
you hadn't finished it yet.
Yeah,
the Death Stranding director's cut version
yeah.
with all the extra content that's in that. So I haven't experienced that. Is that only for the five, the director's cut, or is that for the four and five?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your voice.
Oh, did it glitch out?
Yeah, yeah. What
F
are you saying?
director's cut.
Mm-hmm.
Was it for the four or just five? PS5.
Five. I think it was just.
Five? It's
I
just
think it was
five.
for
Okay.
four too. I think it was for
Was
both.
it?
No, just PS5 and PC.
Okay.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, makes sense because
Because
enhanced
with the
visual.
director's cut, you could have upgraded from the PS4 version
Yeah.
to PS5,
Mm-hmm.
but it was only for PS5 and PC.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah, that
sense.
sounds about right. Yeah, $10, I believe it was what it was. Yeah. Have you played
Yeah,
the director's cut version? Dev?
I bought it in January last year. I got up to the collector, so
Okay.
around about when you start building the ski lifts,
Okay.
Okay.
and then I stopped playing. But yeah,
Okay.
I tried some of the new stuff. It's pretty cool.
Cool.
It
Nice.
just adds
That,
to the game loop.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
I bought it, never played it. I mean,
Oh, okay.
just didn't get to it, but I was supporting Kojima Production.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's only $10. So I was like, let me get the upgrade anyway. I played it a little bit just to see the graphics, how they've changed, and it was beautiful. Um, but yeah, like well, the game on the base PS4 was beautiful too. So I'm like,
Yeah,
that's one thing about this game is awesome. But since we're talking about the director's cut, and we were talking about all the additions that he made with the director's cut, with all those new gadgets and ways of delivering with that, with the rocket pod and the jetpack and the robots. So what I always thought was like he's put in so many things, like basically all you can, like almost everything that you can think of gameplay wise with jetpack, this and that. How is it gonna improve on DS2? How is, because he put out so much stuff in director's cut. How do you enhance this
Uh,
gameplay
yeah.
further?
How does he top that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you add
And
next one?
uh, I know it's not a jetpack, right? It's a stabilizer. Is that what it's called?
I have no idea.
in the director's cut, there's also a
Yeah,
jetpack.
there's a
There,
jetpack.
there, there there's a jetpack. It's
Yeah.
literally
Yeah, but
called a
it
jetpack.
sort of makes you like fly down instead of
Okay,
up.
all right. Yeah, I think the technical
Like
term in the game is stabilizer.
Oh, is it?
So,
Okay. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
care
the
about that.
stabilizers in the base game, yes.
I don't think the stabilizers in the base game. Not what I'm talking about, because the thing that sticks to your backpack that would take up the slot of a battery. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
Yeah.
talking
I think
about?
that's the one you're talking. I think the stabilizer, Johnny, is the name given to the jetpack in Director's
Yeah.
Cut.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it wasn't in the base
Yeah.
game. I'm getting them up.
No.
No, no. I would have used the hell out of it if it was in the base
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
No, but it's like that's what like what I'm curious about. But the another thing is you are not able to use any of those gadgets unless you have connected that area, right? And then once it's in the network, only then you start to use those gadgets.
Uh, how does it function? So if you have the what is it, deployable stuff, you can bring that over outside, I believe. You cannot create
Mhm.
structures
Yeah.
outside of a
Yeah,
chiral
structures is the
network.
thing that you cannot create. That's true. So yeah, like
So yeah.
I'm really interested to see what else. Like we have seen glimpses of what he's added, right? New vehicles, new kind of a bike. Robots are gonna be there, but what else can you bring in to make this gameplay stand out from the first one? And
Right. I know one thing that I have a question for you guys. It's at one of
Mhm.
the top of my list is okay, the Cupid thumb ring that is on Sam's hand.
Yeah,
He used that to stealth kill or cut cords in the original game, and also do the zip line
yeah,
with the handcuff.
handcuffs.
So how are they going to handle that in two?
No more
You know
zip
what I
line.
mean? Because what no more zip line. He's going to just are they going? Or it's going to be a different zip line tech, I would assume, if they're going to do something similar. Because at
Hanging
least
by
he's
his
not
thumb
doing
on
that.
the ring.
Yeah, by stuff. That's what I was thinking. That or he's grabbing onto something actual,
Yeah.
like a thing that moves across instead or
Imagine
whatever.
if
But
he's like going down the zip line with a thumbs up, so he just
right, right.
just
The also the notion of like just grabbing a cord and breaking it is interesting too, because if you grabbed it with your thumb, it would, the ring would be touching it and it could
yeah.
still maybe kind of sever it or whatever. But
Mm,
I don't know. I thought that was like a weird, like, okay, if that's gone, what is he going to do to replace those things, or are they going to be missing in the game? So,
true. No, the ring, yeah, it's interesting. Maybe, a holographic something appears and he's just, you know,
oh, that would work.
Yeah.
That would work. Yeah,
like
yeah,
a hook or something like that. But yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely one of the things that we saw gameplay wise, gadget wise, and also in one of these posts that he made on Instagram. And those blurry background posts that he does, there was the hand as a thumbs up with the ring, and the whole menu option was the holographic menu option was open. So rather than the car,
Oh, that's good. That's
yeah,
good.
so
I
it's like
like
he
that.
did this and it becomes the holographic menu on there. So we
It's
definitely
it's
know
kind
he's,
kind of a this thing a little bit
yeah.
too. But yeah, but it's yeah. I
Like
an
one of,
iDroid with a thumbs up. That is
Yeah.
so
yeah,
spot
yeah,
on.
The
That is so
sun will
good.
rise momentarily.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God, you almost sounded like her.
Yeah, yeah.
What the
To the secret, guys. It was me all along.
That was funny. But
Oh
yeah,
God, I got BTs behind me.
oh my God.
Oh dear.
The yeah, don't hold it for too long, dude. But yeah, with the gestures thing, it's so funny. Like every country has their own gestures, right? Like Italian, right? But the same thing in the Desi culture, in the Indian Pakistani culture, if someone is asking someone to eat, or if they want to eat, like the food is ready, they'll go like, come, you can come and eat. So the same thing. One of my bosses, he's Indian, and he's on the phone and he's walking and he's trying to ask this white lady to come and eat because lunch is served or whatever, and he goes like this, and she's looking at me. She's like, "What the fuck was that?" And I'm like, that,
Hey,
I'm like that. I mean, come, like,
what?
why did he turn Italian all of a sudden? I'm like, no, that he meant come and eat. So, but I
The,
like
the
that
best, the
he,
best part about Italian culture is people will gesticulate on the mobile. So they'll
yeah,
be on their phones and they're saying, "Oh, yesterday I went out to the bar," and you're like, "Mate, you're on the phone. No one can hear you
yeah.
or see you."
That's funny. But yeah, like coming back to that thumbs up thing, one thing that like let's go through some of the screenshots that he's recently posted just to work on that gameplay wise. Like the recent one he showed was showing the sky, night sky. Like all most of the shots that he's showing now show the sky so that none of the landscape is spoiled in that sense. And he always
Mhm.
covers the bar at the bottom of the screen and on the side so we don't see what gadgets or whatever Sam is using. But what I noticed is in the latest one, it's the we could see the moon. It's a night sky. I don't think we've
Yeah.
seen that in that Stranding one at all.
No.
So
There's only one part where it's nighttime,
yeah,
and I think it's when you got to cross the ocean, the lake. Sorry.
I, I think also the Aurora, the Aurora light section is also nighttime, right? Is that the one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was
it
checking
was
it,
scripted the nighttime.
Mhm.
checking some of the skies the other day, and there is like a little bit of notion of kind of a gray blue peeking through the clouds, but yeah,
Yeah.
you don't see stars, you don't
You
see
don't
any
see
planetary
anything.
stuff at all in the first one, which makes sense just as a notion of a turnaround for game development. Don't have to worry about that stuff because then you would have to have it
Yeah,
move through the sky
the whole
and
thing. Yeah.
whatnot. Yeah, but this being, sequel makes sense to be able to do more with it. And the giant moon that we saw in the trailer too
Yeah.
there's going to be more significance with that stuff. I know like when you start out with the first with the Doom stuff with your zodiac sign stuff too. So maybe he's connecting that stuff a little bit more maybe too.
Possible.
Who knows? So
But I'm thinking day and night cycle. I think that's where he's going.
yeah.
The
Okay,
game.
yeah. That would be nice to have a day-night cycle, yeah.
So
Especially if they did what is it called? Some of like the video game tropes stuff with that, like Minecrafty and whatever. When it gets dark out, it's weird stuff starts to happen versus
mhm.
when it's not out.
Yeah.
Reapers and Death Stranding confirmed.
Yeah. I know like one thing that I would like to touch on, and this is just to mention it, is the notion that Kojima does what is it? The love letter kind of notion is what Metal Gear is to video games in general. And it's
Mhm.
like it's emulated. He's doing video game mechanics that are based off of existing game mechanics of other games, and
Yeah.
then just kind of shoehorning them in an interesting way. And I feel like that's going to be the evolution of this one is adding like the double jump, adding with legs or so on and so forth. But we'll get back to that later. We can continue with the tangent that we're on though. But
No.
just just a notion of keeping that in mind.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. Like he does a lot, like even the social strand system, come to think of it, it's very similar to what FromSoft does, right? But like it's similar to like other players being in the same world. You see all these ghosts running around every now and then, someone dying, someone, just being there, and all these messages left on the floor, what you can read. It's very similar
Right,
to that.
right,
So
right.
he does, as you said, he does use a lot of things from other games and presents
Yeah.
in a
Well,
different way.
yeah, BTs are ghosts from Pac-Man, and
That's
and I've brought this up before. I'm not sure if I said this on the last
mhm,
podcast or just when we talked about before. Is it's just, and it's my favorite one that I've experienced is just the what is it BT like battle transition
yeah.
with the BTs grabbing him, taking him to a boss, which is just a battle transition screen from an RPG.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
But which it done in a really really cool way. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh man, instead of the wah 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 wah, Final Fantasy style thing, it's just like, no, let's make it make sense within the world.
It's a
So
really cool loading screen, is what it is.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
Very,
Well hidden.
interactive.
yeah. It's kind
Yes,
of like,
well hidden, and there's canon to it
yeah.
too. So
It's kind of like what Star Wars Outlaws recently did, where you're flying the ship and then you dive straight into the planet. But the way they've made it seem that when you're going through, there's a lot of clouds coming in, and then you transition straight into the world. That's basically a well-hidden loading screen. So,
right, yeah, yeah,
that's a cool way to put it. So,
right,
um, yeah. Again, another thing that we see from like the nighttime cycle, I think the reason the way the sky was in DS1 was because of the Death Stranding and the whole mist and fog and you cannot see everything. So that's another thing. We cleared all that at the end of DS1, right? The rain was not affecting anything. Nothing was happening. They were out in the timefall. It wasn't affecting Sam, wasn't affecting Louise or Lou. Um
Uh, at the end of okay, I see
DS1.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they come out, right? He's holding like you see the rainbow is the
Normal.
right way up, time falls up.
Yeah,
So a lot changed. And now everything's gone upside down, right? Everything, the strands are going upwards. The BTs are connected the other way around.
right.
So I think a lot has changed. That's why the sky now is not
I
as weird as
I'm
it was.
curious. I'm curious if your earlier thing that we did on the last podcast with it being Australia, if that's why it's upside down, because it's like you're b below the equator, so you have a
Mm.
different effect happening.
Possible. It's
Just just
just
just just it's,
that's what you do.
that
No,
would be a weird reason for it. But I could see that being one of the reasons or explanations for that. But yeah.
no.
Was there any other like gameplay mechanic things that you guys think would happen with this day and night cycle besides like just BTs and stuff like changing, going more into like the red BTs or those glowing nine ones that we saw or whatever?
Yeah, like that's a interesting
Or
one.
is that more territorial?
I think that's how the BTs are now, like with the glowing eyes and stuff. But we have only seen one shot of the BTs in the whole
Right,
these
right.
two trailers, right?
Yeah,
And they look more
Sam's dupes could
humanoid.
be more crazy, so we see it more too. So, but yeah, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, like it looks very like those figures are more formed than the previous BTs. Maybe it's the graphical enhancement or whatever it is, but the BTs now have like glowing eyes. Another
Hmm.
thing that we saw in the recent post was the suit had a camel pattern on
Yeah.
it. And
Right, yeah.
I'm like, why the fuck would Sam need a camel? Like what is he hiding from? Uh, He's going
Well,
all snake.
was it camo or was it digital camo?
I think it was digital camo.
Because that would make more interesting sense if it actually is something that's messing with bots, so they
Hmm.
can't detect him. So they have a
That's
hard time
that
to see him.
interesting. Hmm.
That's where I was thinking it was going with the whole bot army that Higgs has. I think that's the reason why Sam is now using all of that because he's gone more stick mode, right? From the rope. Now he's going all
Right.
guns blazing. He thinks he's Snake. But
Well, well, at least they're pushing that within that cutscene a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
yeah. And like even like he said that this is gonna be a complete different game. Like this game, since Death Stranding was all about connection and very it had a very passive, very slow mood to it. But then DS2 is more aggressive and more stick based. Even in his Hideo Tube, they were saying the same thing that this time it's going all out, right? And even before he announced Death Stranding 2, Kojima was asked, "What are you working on?" And he said, "I'm working on two games. One is a AAA game that everyone would want to play, and the second one is an experiment. The experiment, of course, is an the OD from the Xbox Studios for the Xbox Cloud gaming that they're working on. The thing that caught my eye was he said it's a AAA game that everyone would want to play. He didn't say that for Death Stranding 1. He clearly said this is not for everyone. This is not something everyone's gonna love. This is a completely different thing that I'm doing. But with Death
Right.
Stranding 2, he clearly said this is something everyone was gonna play, so he might go back to his stealth action, more action gameplay. What do you guys
Right.
Could be adaptive as well. That would be something new.
think?
Depending on how you play, the game changes genre.
Yeah.
Could be more horror, it could be more uh, walking simulator, it could be more action.
It could go
You sort
anywhere.
of did that with Metal Gear Solid 5,
Yeah.
depending on how you
Exactly.
played.
exactly what I was gonna say
Yeah.
is V is a good example of being able to choose. And I assume that's what it's doing. It's just gonna lead a little bit more to having more combat
Hmm.
than the first one.
Makes
Which goes back to that love letter thing. It's okay, shooting games is a thing. Let's actually push this a little bit more. Maybe even like Metal Gear Solid 4, where he's trying to do like first person shooter stuff
hmm.
with that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So Johnny, do you think we're gonna have more playable characters, just apart from Sam?
So judging by the trailer we saw,
Hmm.
it's clear we're probably going to be playing as forget her name, Elle Fanning.
Okay,
But then again, I don't know.
interesting.
it it would be nice if they did something along the lines of once again Metal Gear Solid 5.
Mm-hmm.
You create your own character, and the strand system becomes an actual system where you're playing with other people.
Hmm. Okay.
So right now, it's sort of like a multiverse where everybody is Sam,
Mm-hmm.
but it could be cool if you had your own porter and you could build your own thing. Another thing, have you ever played Mad Max, the game that came out with the movie?
I haven't, but I am like it's on my list. I have.
Yeah, it's one of those underrated games, I believe.
Mhm.
it is.
Like you have to build the settlement and you got to go from one and raid other settlements.
Yeah, yeah.
It would be nice to see how the cities developed after the events of the first one.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I think that's one thing I do want to talk about as well. I'll come to it after what I'm about to say. I think the characters wise, I think there's definite like looking at the recent trends, especially with Sony games, if you think about it. Last of Us, right? We
Mm.
went from just playing Joel to playing Ellie, right? Spider-Man, we had Mary Jane, we had Miles Morales, right? God of War, we got Atreus.
Yeah.
There's a pattern that there's a like a sudden surprise element of a gameplay change. All of a sudden, you're playing a character you didn't think you were gonna play with. I think
Yeah.
something similar is gonna happen with Death Stranding too. But my bets are probably on Fragile as playable. The second one would be Higgs. I think Higgs is not just a villain in this one. He's probably gonna play and the Orange Fox um
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
have because
I could
like why the fuck would you put characters who have freaking guitars and swords as main weapons and you're not gonna play as them? You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like I'll
Yeah.
be so mad if I cannot play as those guys. Like imagine playing with a guitar. Your weapon is the guitar, and you're just shooting the freaking thunderbolts out of your like soloing freaking Stairway to Heaven or whatever. So,
Right, right.
but you want something
Because
like that in this game.
yeah, and I think the notion of it being two helps with that in my brain. It's like, okay, one was one player, two is two
Yeah,
players.
yeah,
I know like the a Reddit thing that did a while back with that picture I did with Al Fenning sitting in the floating
yes,
carrier and stuff like that. That system would be cool too if that you could have people coming along with you as
exactly.
either bots or holograms, because there's two
Companion.
different types of holograms that they have in that thing. There's chirograms and just holograms, which the
Yeah.
ones that are fuzzy you can see through. Hologram are those is the ones that like
Hmm.
what
No,
Dead Man uses that are like one to one. And if
Hmm.
they could actually hang out and fall with you and then actually have like a couch co-op
Yeah.
thing where they're running around like in Sonic 2, which another be another love letter homage
Hmm.
to that kind of a thing where they could, if they're able to overlay over a bot, then they can actually exist. But if they're actually like, what is it, have powers that can teleport in and teleport out,
Hmm.
then they could actually physically be there. But then you could have a mix of it so that you could have like, well, they teleport in, but then we have a robot there in the meantime, or holograms that mimic action and play. That they're picking up fake boxes and putting it into the thing, just letting you know it's there and detecting stuff in the field and whatnot. But yeah, yeah. Playing other characters cooperative stuff with the two. Fingers crossed for those stuff for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The more realistically playing a different character though, for sure. That's not too hard to do.
I
I
think
feel like
even
that.
with the interview that Norman Reedus gave, right? Someone asked him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this time there's a whole crew." So that kind of makes me think, okay, you know what? If there's a whole crew system, maybe Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain's section where you choose one of these crew members to tag along with you for missions.
Yeah,
Right?
buddy system. Yeah,
Yeah, buddy system.
totally.
So that's
Uh,
one thing.
Do do you guys know like the weird large looking truck vehicle that he runs in
Yeah.
the trailer? There's
Mm.
a second seat there. In
Yes.
the truck, mind you, there was a second seat anyway, but that one just seems like, okay, why? Why did you put a second seat there? You didn't have to put a second seat on that
No,
thing. It's not being taken up by the backpack. The
no.
backpack has its own spot. So
Yeah.
it's like saying there's someone's going to be sitting here.
It'll be creepy if
Maybe
he
it
puts the bodies
maybe
right
it's
next to him.
it might be for a corpse disposal. It might be for or transporting people in like the bag like
Yeah.
mama. But yeah, it'll
Yeah,
be
that's also
interesting
an
to see.
issue. Is there still going to be corpse disposal, or do people not annihilate anymore?
It should be because Death Stranding is far from over, you know?
Hmm.
So,
Okay, help me out with this. I was having a conversation with my friend. He was replaying the game again, and Sam says something at the very beginning with the corpse disposal scenario.
mhm.
And I can't remember it word for word, but says something about the it's going necro and it's going to do a void out. But
Hmm.
how that functions is it just turns into a BT and it doesn't cause a void out unless a live person gets eaten by a what is it? A catcher? Is this correct? Or does a catcher catch you and then it feeds it to the giant handhead and that what causes the void out?
Yeah,
I
like a antimatter annihilation.
Is it always the giant handhead that causes the void outs? Because I never
no,
had a void out happen
no,
to
no.
You
me.
get void outs also with the bosses when they eat you.
Okay, so the catchers, when they eat you, they
Yeah,
Yeah,
also do it too.
yeah,
Okay. All right. All right.
not proud to say that I died a couple of times.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think I died
it's
once. I got,
I
I did
well,
one.
I died. I didn't get eaten.
Oh,
There's definitely a difference.
No, I definitely caused the void out in
yeah,
the mountain region, right
Okay.
next to Mountain Knot City.
Okay.
yeah.
So,
And it was horrible because that's where I had all the skylines.
Oh shit.
And I had this huge crater with golden BTs around. It was horrible.
No.
so so with that mechanic in that game, when it does the because you're dragged to a boss fight, which is in a specific location for a boss fight, right?
Yeah,
So that is the location where KDO has designated a void out to exist. So
correct.
he doesn't
Yes,
have to
it's not
have. So
anywhere.
it's not anywhere. It's only in that situation,
Yeah.
which is also really smart. It would be cool if it could be anywhere. Then also the other thing is that I had to look this up. There's a like a wind wall or gravitational wall, so you can't actually get into the void out hole, the craters,
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because that would be cool to be able to pass that, crawl down into it, and have weird shit in there, and maybe actually speed up the regeneration thing by putting instruments down there or whatever, and
Mhm.
actually maybe have it be like more like moonwalking down in the crater and stuff. But uh, I know that that's what I w was hoping was going to be in the game when I
Yeah, but there was a
was.
invisible wall kind of thing, not accessible area.
Yeah. That they could he could change that in this one though. He could
Hmm.
say, okay, because you have a special suit or you do this or that, or the notion of uh the idea of a glider
Yeah.
or mixed with the stabilizer that I talked about on the last podcast
Hmm.
would really be interesting. But yeah, uh, but yeah.
No, that's yeah, like that's one thing. Like the as you were talking about the buddy system too, right? That and another thing that, as you said, he always picks up from his games is since we are moving from one country to the other, right? We have left US, we are moving from Mexico to whatever place we are going. I think as Johnny was mentioning right now, I think we'll have something very similar to a mother base uh gameplay
Well,
mechanic where we manage deliveries from like afar. We see, oh, we assign these to these people and these robots, and these deliveries are being made in the US or Mexico while we are exploring a whole different location, and incorporating that whole system that he already knows how to build, like the mother
okay.
base system.
Okay. Okay, so you're saying that there's going to be like a mini game that's in different
Yes,
countries, and we're doing the city management thing in like
basic.
the US or Mexico probably would be in. That would
Yeah.
make sense to like have a little mini game where you're doing that stuff. And then it can fall over into the end game on the opposite on the continent that we're actually doing stuff in.
Yeah,
Which I
we
know I
don't.
really,
Yeah.
really, really, really wished Metal Gear Solid 1 had that in it. Like it's begging for it to just add a few things to make that work. And that's part one of the things on my list that I
Wait,
need to.
Metal Gear Solid 1?
Uh, no, Metal Gear
That's
Solid V. Sorry.
Ah, sorry. Okay, okay.
Johnny was like, well, yes.
Did,
I wrap my
did I
head
say
around it.
did I say one?
Yeah, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, but but yeah, yeah, but definitely having the ability to do that would be awesome.
Um, we already saw the weapons room in the ship, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
There were
yeah.
way too many guns. Like there were more guns definitely than Death Stranding one, that's for sure. I think I kind of saw like a sniper thing too. So
Oh, cool.
so Sam is definitely going more towards action and
No
killing.
ropes.
Yes, sticks, no more ropes.
No more ropes. Yeah.
Yeah, and he also has that VR section, so there's definitely VR what you call missions, and I think Ashler sent me one of those screenshots again with Kojima playing out, and it kind of looks like the VR training mode, or it's very similar to the Metal Gear VR training stuff that we saw in the background with his on his screen while he was testing it out. Um, but yeah, gameplay wise, see, I think it's gonna be either one of two things. It's probably gonna will be like the last time we're speculating so much about this is gonna happen. This is, we're gonna go to the moon and this and that. And what ends up happening is we're still just delivering. Nothing
Yeah,
else changes. It's just
yeah,
a story that changes. We're just delivering the same
yeah.
shit.
But
The
in
one thing
Mexico.
that
Yeah.
right, the one thing that I can see changing is maybe not having chiral networks touch where there's a no man's land, and maybe that we can actually take stuff with us to create like an oasis inside those areas,
Mhm.
and then to shore up like whatever we need to do, like the pit stop for stuff with setting up shelters and stuff like that, and it has its own off the grid chiral network to be able to allow you to build stuff just in that one spot. But
Yeah.
then you troubleshoot from there to the next place to get into the larger notion of a larger network. The notion of having other networks is interesting too, because it feels like there's something already there that
Mm.
exists as well. So there might be a competition of networks that are happening as
Mhm.
well.
So like
Yeah.
other private networks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're not with UCA anymore anyway, right? Like we're not working for the United States per se. So
No, no.
Mexico
But
might have its own
do,
thing.
do you think it still will be called a chiral network, or do you think they were going to rebrand it to be something more fragile-esque? Or that's not a U.S. marketing thing. That's just the technology, like
Yeah, I believe so.
telephone.
The second.
Yeah. He could play around with it, but I don't think it will because it's still chiral stuff, right? And even in the ship they're talking about chiralium and all these different things. The terms are still the same. It's
Right.
just, yeah, the places and what they're connecting, and like they've become more private than, a government thing. And but we still don't know who's pulling the threads. And talking about pulling the threads, that whole imagery of the puppetry is like so
Right.
obvious in the whole, because Fragile says there's someone, you know, uh
Backing them.
yeah, backing them, but who it is, they don't know. Which will be an interesting reveal to see who exactly is pulling the threads.
Cool.
I think there's way more characters that we haven't seen yet. He already talked about it.
He has scanned half of Hollywood.
Yeah.
They're gonna be in there as holograms, that's for sure.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be less just cameo and actually have like a little bit more character to
Yeah.
them, which would be fun.
Um,
Uh,
right before we started, me and Johnny were also talking about how he would pay tribute to Loror because guy he passed.
right.
So how I'm
Yes.
sure he's gonna have some kind of a mission or something.
How would you do that? Because I know the notion of on the beach is interesting,
Hmm.
which it goes a little bit into the other realm thing, which is again it could be another love letter to video games that like Legacy of Kain. What is the not the original Legacy of Kain, but they're the one
Blood
with
Omen.
what say it again?
Blood Omen.
No, it's with the other character. I can't remember he has the soul
Yeah.
reaver thing.
Old,
I
okay,
can't
yeah.
remember.
I think it was called Blood Omen with the
With Kane, it is. I can't remember off the top of my head,
Soul
but
Reaver. Sorry.
it's a called Soul Reaver? Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
the
called Soul
original.
Reaver.
Yeah.
Okay. That game had that swap in and out of like you're
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
into this realm to this realm. I could see there maybe being some of that where Sam is shifting into the scene more often, maybe actually having to kill himself to do it to achieve stuff.
Yeah.
We kind of see them already doing that with the submarine kind of stuff. So
Yeah, it's going inside this scene, that's for sure. And even the pilot, right? What's his name? George Miller's
yeah,
character. He's somehow connected to the seam and going down into the tar and stuff. So I think that's we might be the whole word of on the beach. I think that's another thing that's a big element of the gameplay is going to be underwater or under the seam, especially when you think about the Decima engine. Horizon Forbidden West had a huge section underwater. They
right. So,
they made it that way because the engine was doing so good underwater. They had to show off all of that.
right.
The Decima expanding even more. I think Kojima is definitely gonna do. And the code name was Ocean for this whole project when it first leaked.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's
So
another, yeah,
yeah, it'd be cool to have more like dredging stuff up, like, getting salvage from the seam and stuff like that is really interesting. The thing I was getting at with the transition thing though is actually be able to like maybe the that artist is on the beach. We get to meet him like he's passed and actually honor the fact that he's passed.
yeah,
And you're actually he maybe be able to help you when you're
mhm,
running around in this other plane or whatever. That would
yeah,
be a cool weird buddy system, especially if it was like a one of the main ones that ran around with you was him.
yeah.
But
And
but yeah,
I think one of the big reasons Nicholas Winding Refn is gonna be at Tokyo Game Show is because Hartman is gonna be back in a very big way. Because he's the only one who goes to the beach and comes back for 20 minutes, right?
right.
So I think he's gonna play a big part when it comes to going on the beaches and figuring out what's happening, and that's why they on the beach, and that's why he's a special guest at Tokyo Game Show because it doesn't make sense. He hasn't been showed in the trailer or anything, but now he's coming back for the show and the presentation. And I think his character was one of the most interesting ones
Yeah,
in the game. The whole finding his wife and family, going onto the beach, and within a certain time
yeah,
limit and coming back. I think his story was still left very incomplete. I think that's
yeah.
work
Uh,
towards more as well.
yeah, all of the characters that had a kind of a little bit more of a supernatural ability were the ones that were interesting.
Yeah.
Deadman was kind of interesting too, because he was like fuzzy in between, and then Lochna and Mama was interesting with after they
Oh,
be,
the ice
became
switch was so cool when they
yeah.
when she died on the
Which I know last time I mentioned that they were trying to do a space stuff, so I'm wondering if we'll see any of that still. That was another weird wish to actually, even if it's just a letter from them, like we
yeah.
did it. We've sent our first rocket into outer space. It got
Uh,
ate by a BT.
it's gonna be Sam. It's gonna be Sam who goes there. Hey, BB in the background.
Right.
Just
He's a
chill.
Oh,
real
that's
one.
so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Someone
there's a
elbow.
BT is caught here.
It's my leather coming off from
That's funny. I was
I
like,
was really
did these actually get you with all black goo on?
I freaked out for a second.
But yeah, like there's so many. That's the thing about Death Stranding too. Even though we know so much about the world and shit, but there's so many different ways this game can go now. It's the
Yeah.
possibilities are endless. You could go all guns out blazing. You can have two, three different characters. You can take control of the ship. You can go into the beach. And the theory about the beaches is like there are different beaches. Everyone has a personal beach, right? And then there's the main big beach. So everyone has
What
their own personal ones, and then there's the main beach.
which is Amelie, which is very confusing.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
said she is the beach that all other beaches kind of run
kind of
into,
run
and then
through
they run through.
It's the
Yeah,
Mama
yeah,
Beach,
yeah.
Mama Beach.
and
Princess
everybody else
Beach.
is just the son of the beach.
Yeah,
Yes,
Princess Beach.
Son of a beach. But I don't know if Amelie is gonna show up or not. One the reason I say is um Lindsay Wagner. She the only reason she agreed to do that stranding was there would be no killing. She was like, I don't want
Uh,
to be a part of the game, a game that involves violence. And if he's
right.
going the other way around this time, he's like,
Uh, uh, this is a question that you asked, via like, us just chatting online. Is
"Hmm,
will we see mules and preppers
yeah,
anymore?
that's
Or are we just going to see bots? Is that the compromise that he made so we could actually have her in it? It's like, no, we were just fighting, like doing the TJ Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon thing where the Foot Clan became all robots, so it wasn't, wasn't violent or as violent.
yeah,
So I could see some on that line. That kind of would disappoint me a little bit, to be honest, because I would like to see there to be more of a game loop kind of weird thing mechanic with fighting living people, but maybe it's designated areas or something like that line.
yeah.
We do see demons, it seems like, though, from that first trailer,
Oh, we did.
chasing the people that are chasing Fragile
Were they not
in the very first
orange? Were
trailer.
they not the people Higgs army, or were they demons?
D Demons is I would consider Higgs army, but yeah, I guess it could be the
Yeah,
robots. Yeah, with their cloak. That might
I
be
meant the
true.
new
Yeah.
ones. Like the new ones have these orange distinctive.
Yeah. It could be. It
Yeah.
could be that. I would have to go back and double check, but yeah, it could just be a robot
Maybe it could be
or
the
Higgs with his cloak on his body. Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah.
that tracks.
Interesting. Um, the thing with mule, I think mules. I don't know if I want to have them back. They were not the best AI to be like they were not the like
Right.
Yeah, true.
AI wise they were
Uh,
really
I
bad for some
I
reason.
I I agree. That's why I would like to have them come back so we could do them justice. Actually have them
Change
be a
them
little
up
bit more
somehow, make
engine.
them more
Yeah, and
better.
probably not call them mules, have them be something else. Because I feel like there's the notion of like homo demons is madmen, and then mules is like this somewhere in between. And I'm not sure what they there is a tagline for the mules. It's a homo something. Do you guys remember what he called them? Like
It was like delivery men or something.
I
Yeah,
can't remember what it was. It's like they makers, or it's not makers. I think they're kind of like hoarders or something like that. They want to like have stuff.
everything. Yeah, they just
Context.
wanna
Yeah.
get every freaking
So I could see maybe doing
Homo
different.
Gestalts. I just looked it up.
homo
Okay.
what?
Homo Gestalts.
And what does Gestalt stand for?
It's German for. I will look that up too.
Okay. But if we had other like psychological stuff, because some of the other characters played into the other things, because we were kind of homo ludens, because we were the player.
Yeah.
So in a way, so
Um, talking about the orange robotic things, they were actually hanging from threads.
yeah,
That's another thing that kind of like they kind of look like BTs, but they're not. And when you kill them, it's not like they're just there. They vanish. They become like particles and they're gone.
yeah.
So that's another thing that's like, what kind of technology is that? Like, what kind of robotic technology. Like, I don't think demons vanished like that, did they? Homo demons. Did they disintegrate?
No, no. We had if you killed them, you had to take them back
The
to a
incinerator.
Yeah.
incinerator.
And these ones just get incinerated right there. Like they just
Yeah,
fall into particles. I don't know what that is.
yeah.
The threads again, that kind of reminds, see, if the orange bots are being controlled by threads or like kind of like puppets, and that's run by Higgs, then Elle Fanning also has these threads. Does that mean she's one sent by Higgs to infiltrate the team? And like she's one of his. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
I don't know
because
what those threads are though.
yeah, no idea. Because we
Maybe
Yeah,
it's born post Death Stranding. You
probably
get
because
yeah, it's like
like Kojima,
umbilical cord for the BTs, but you got one always.
yeah. Oh, I just
right.
noticed something. It was going right behind Johnny a little while ago when they were showing the Heartman room. Bridges logo always had the web.
Yes.
What's another thing that has threads? That does catches its prey with threads. It's a spider.
Yeah,
So that puppetry imagery with and those things and those threads actually look more like spider threads, you know,
silk.
yeah, the silk basically.
Yeah,
It could be something because there was a reason why he had that whole spider web and the spider thing on the other bridges logo that we have at Hartman's room. Maybe it's kind of something like that where something's controlling them. That spider itself could be Higgs or could be something totally different. Maybe Higgs also
right.
is being controlled by someone. Plus,
Yeah,
again,
it would be
Amelie,
interesting if we end up seeing Higgs have the strands too coming off of them. We haven't seen that, but he could. There could totally be a scene where that exists on him too. So
because he clearly has something going on with Amelie, right? Because
right.
they kind of faked that whole thing that they were against each other. Well, they were not,
Yeah,
because there's this whole scene where he's like kind of like bowing down to Amelie right as Sam shows up and he gets up and then he starts to act all tough in front of Amelie, right? Like
yeah,
he's almost worshiping
yeah.
Amelie in that
He's
sense.
definitely
And
playing a role.
yeah, and even on the coffin, right? The main that thing is Amelie. Like the insignia is
Yeah.
cross and whatever that is, it is Amelie. So I think she's responsible for bringing him back from the beach.
Yeah,
Because
right.
all of that is gonna be collected somehow. I don't like we'll find out. I mean it's gonna be we're gonna be scratching our heads again when it comes to story because I think it's gonna expand in a way that we don't expect it to be. Like kind of like Metal Gear, right? When you think it's going one way and then it just goes like
Yeah.
10 different branches and
Or
characters. Like what the fuck just happened?
So did you look up that word?
yeah,
Or
sorry.
no, you're good.
Gestalt means shape,
Shape. Okay.
The homework.
but it might mean something else in that context. I'm not
Yeah,
too
yeah, yeah. It might be connected to just ha having objects,
yeah, probably.
holding shape or ha having stuff that is made out of shape, maybe is what he was thinking.
Mhm.
That's interesting.
Um, Gameplay wise, we also know now that there's gonna be a lot of environmental hazards, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that looked great.
Natural disasters, is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of shit is gonna break. Like you build structure
Yeah.
and it's gone. And it's like what happened?
Right. Right.
So there's a
Uh,
flash
wait,
flood or earthquake, whatever.
right. Which I hope we have an upgrade path to make them so that they can be invulnerable or to cope with the environmental problems. So this, I'm putting this in the flood area. Let's upgrade it in an upgrade path so that it like goes underground or it
It
does a weird
withstands. Yeah,
float thing or it's a special version so it can actually uh survive that situation basically.
possible.
Uh,
I think
I
that's the
do,
difficulty level he's adding, right?
right. Do you guys think there's going to be like an interesting land uh change loop with that stuff, some of it? Because if they're doing landslides, is the
Yeah.
landslide going to go down and then Timefall gonna reset it. I know the big one that we see, there's a huge cut on that mountain. I don't know if they're gonna retcon the regrow the mountain, but they do grow what is it? The Timefall craters, so maybe they will. It
I
makes more
don't.
sense with an avalanche where the snow would melt and then the snow would build back up on top of the mountain again and it would rinse and repeat in that
Yeah.
cycle. Especially if they had it set up where it had around like three different versions of how it changed the terrain. So like when you drove by that area or walked by that area, that it would look different. So it'd be a
Hmm.
little bit, oh, I have to do this different this time. Same thing with like sandstorms. Would be cool if the dunes, if the wind was
Yeah.
blowing from three different directions, each direction had three different directions, so the sand dune area would be like cut up into like nine different versions of itself.
Mm.
So you could be really confused and your stuff could get buried. And then maybe you have to protect it yet again with an upgrade system for the structures out in the desert and so on. So
Yeah.
yeah, what other disasters do you guys see happening than what we've seen?
What like that's why I was thinking what else can happen because we have seen uh forest fires, we've seen
The floods.
flash floods. What?
The floods, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We've seen
Tornado.
we've seen we've seen
Oh,
flash floods. We've seen
yeah.
flash floods. We have not seen a flood. A flood would be a
Yeah, yeah. We've seen
slow, kind of a
yeah,
weird
flash. Yeah,
effect.
we've seen flash floods, tsunami.
Uh,
Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, if we're close to water. Yeah, I see that one.
Yeah,
Hurricanes, tornadoes,
tornado.
Blizzards.
cyclones,
Yeah, it could be. You could go anywhere.
earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. What
Cinco
else?
de Mayo.
This one's an interesting one. I don't know if this would do anything but droughts.
Nah, nah, I don't think so. Well, it's pretty fucked up out there anyway. There's no
Yeah.
looks
Yeah, that one
pretty.
doesn't make sense,
Yeah, it looks.
to be honest. I could see like Blizzard, we kind of see that a little bit in
I
the
think we
first
did
one.
on DS1 too. We had Blizzard's kind of stuff in DS1 too, right?
Yeah. I think we did.
And there is it. There
Uh,
is the nighttime. That's all we got
yeah,
as nighttime.
yeah.
No
Yeah,
stars, nothing.
I think it was due to like time constraints. They never implemented it because he wanted to do it in the original.
Yeah, probably budget time.
Remember reading it in the art of Death Stranding, there was something about nighttime.
Possible. It's probably, because of budget constraints, really. Like with them being an indie news studio, now they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that budget too, right? Now they
Yeah, yeah,
PS1
yeah,
was a success. They can add all of that.
yeah.
Um, I
All
won't.
all the stuff that was on the cutting room floor is definitely going to probably be put
Yeah,
into this one.
yeah,
Especially if they had it like halfway done,
hmm,
I could totally see them doing that.
yeah,
Like if it's they just gonna get it into the game in time, or for even for the
I just
director's cut.
realized now there was an old Sam already in the first one.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Interesting.
cool.
The desert area, I think I'm very excited for that, especially traversal wise. Imagine like sand surfing.
Yeah, that's that No Man Land idea that gave me that that does look like a place where you're gonna have a place to have a knot
Yeah,
to do a band with. So you're gonna have to walk that gap with just your stuff. And that's why I say the notion of being able to haul a because what it would be is you would be hauling basically a terminal in parts so that
yeah.
you could set up a makeshift network in an oasis,
In Indonesia, yeah,
which
makes sense.
so then you
I
could
will.
then set up a shelter is the main
Mm.
thing that you'd want there. So
I won't be surprised if we saw Paul Muad'Dib, Timothy Chalamet show us because he's been at the
yeah,
office. He's
yeah.
gonna show up as one of the characters, a holograph
That
Muad'Dib or something,
yes,
a reference to
y
Dune or even Mad Max. We could probably
yeah,
see Mad Max in
both of the yeah,
yeah.
both of those as preppers. Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be sick.
exactly. It'll be fun to have that Timothy as one of the characters. That'll be interesting to see. Yeah, gameplay wise, I'm really excited for the desert part. Like, cause just imagine if he put something like, how you ride the sandworm, something similar to that in your gameplay where you're
Yeah.
just riding the dunes or whatever. It looks beautiful. I think it was one of my favorite
We had
shots.
the whales in the oil. You can definitely have some other beast
Yeah,
come
yeah.
up in the
Yeah.
sands.
He can go
Yeah.
all out, like especially with expanding the engine, and he could do way more stuff now.
Yeah,
Even the shot with the moon, uh, I thought that was not like a real place in the world. It could be a beach. Because we see that flying thing in the background too, and then the moon is too big. Like you can't really see a moon this big from Earth
right.
unless he just puts that as, whatever. Because he has that whole texture from NASA. He's like, well, fuck it. I just want to show off the, the moon texture.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I maybe you guys can help me with this. So there's the auto paver technology, and then there's the Evo Devo technology. Uh, uh, these technologies seem like they talk about like pulling stuff from the past and the future, or
Yeah.
into the present, right? Lost stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The paver road, the road that we did in the DS1,
Mm-hmm.
that that was an old existing road, from my understanding,
Yeah, I think
that
so.
they pull from the past to the future. And then when we go have the boss fights, we
Mm-hmm.
see the past come out of the ground. But
Mm-hmm.
then also on top of that, the present goes into the ground
Mm-hmm.
and then comes back out again. So there's this switch between those two things, and the notion
Yeah.
of like fishing for stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
pulling stuff from the past, like ice fishing for stuff. I know
Yeah,
that the ship has a giant hook on it.
it does. It does. Yeah.
So
That's
Mhm.
interesting.
so so the notion of our stuff getting destroyed
Mm-hmm.
by these disasters, maybe we can go back to that area and actually fish it out somehow, actually walk up to that area and say, oh, okay, where is it at in the seam? Shoot ourselves, find it in the seam. If
Mm-hmm.
it's been voided out or if it's been destroyed, then maybe we would literally have to ice fish, like literally put down a machine that leaks oil, not oil, but tar in that spot, and
Yeah.
then try to pull out the thing that got lost in the past.
Yeah.
That'd
But
be
I don't
fun.
know. I don't know if
Mini
the
mini
logic.
fishing game. That's another
Huh?
big trend in recent games is the mini fishing game. It's like
Yeah. Oh no, no,
Death
totally.
Stranding 2, you have a
Totally.
whole fucking ship shipping for you, like fishing for you. That'll be awesome. That's interesting. Like, yeah, the whole pass going in and you going within the seam and fishing those things out.
Yeah.
That that's
Because because I think there needs to be a loop if your stuff is getting destroyed. Either you need your structures to
Mhm.
get to the point where they can be protected from the disaster,
Yeah.
or you need to be smart and put it in the right spot,
Hmm.
or there's a way to get it back,
Yeah.
or there's the notion of at least of an echo that exists. Because this is something I wanted is everything would not break, it would go to a ruined state, and
Yeah.
then you could go back to it and then fix it. So
Mhm.
even like that, the bridge getting taken out by the what is it, the flash flood, that there
Mhm.
would still be like some structure there, and you just would have to go back and
And kind
repair it.
of kind of bring it back. Yeah. I think with the structures, I think with the changes in landscape, I think they're gonna remain permanent just to fuck with you. Like, oh, I've made this whole road and I have this whole section made completely zip lines. I'm good to go. In
Uh,
a little while, there's like a whole landslide and it's fucking gonna
Yeah.
shit. Like, gotta rethink your strategy. Now what do I do? Like, something like
right.
that. I think just to add that level of difficulty within.
Well, I would agree that would agree with that in the front of the game. On the back of the game, I hope it does not do that. I hope there's still like way to automate it a little more and keep it like more structured. Because that's one of the things I wish we could do with DS1 is have the bots go out and repair your stuff for you and have that automated
Hmm.
and maybe even farm for crystal for you and stuff like that. So when you
I,
log in, you get
Yeah, because
like
as
all
far as
the
just the
sweet.
deliveries, there wasn't really an automation system.
no.
No. You could send a robot on a mission, but you couldn't
Yeah.
like set up like, okay, let's put a bot depot somewhere and then put a tower, a watchtower next to it, so that gives information to the bot. The bot then is to sees chiral crystal and then uh packages that come in the air, and they'll grab it and then put it into also a what is it what is the mailbox called in that? It's a in the
Is it
game.
not
It's not a
Postbox?
post box. Yeah, it's called a post box. So you have a post box for the robot too. So he's actually grabbing stuff, putting stuff away, gathering pyro crystal,
Yeah.
defending the area. Maybe even sticking a robot near a BT on purpose so it actually will fight for you and gather
Mm.
resources.
Mm.
Just that kind of a weird loop that's just doing its own thing when you turn on the console, kind of like V does when you
I
turn it
think
up.
I
You
think it's
get all
gonna
this
be
resources and
part
shit.
of that whole mini game of the mother base, right? I think you can set up paths for the robots to how to do deliveries and stuff. And while you're
Mhm.
out there, kind of like in Metal Gear Solid 5, how we hear, oh, maybe we'll get a notification. The path that you chose was destroyed by a landslide. So
Yeah.
now you gotta
Yeah,
refigure how
yeah,
do you deliver that. So it's like multiple things happening within that mini game as
yeah. Because the buildup of that would be is you initially as a player would have to go back and fix that stuff, but then you
yeah.
would get the ability to get the robots to go back and fix it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that it's
You
not so annoying. It's like, hey, fix that slash. Maybe you can actually have bridge link players fix your existing stuff that is broken too for
Yeah.
you somehow. Uh, I don't know how they would run that. It would almost be like donating an upgrade to a ghost that they can see via the BB being weird to see in the
Mm.
scene more, or this was an idea that was running is Sam maybe doing near death experience stuff where he holds his breath for a long time so he can see more into the scene,
Mm.
or take some drugs or something like that to try to somewhat kill himself just a little bit so he can see more.
I think we already are getting more like medicines and drugs anyway because we see that whole syringe going in and it's kind of like Fragile has DH now, right? Her skin is okay. I think there's definitely a cure for time fall in that sense, right? That because that's something they inject into Elle Fanning to as soon as she comes out of the chrysalis, right? I think that's
So
something.
either that or they've reversed engineered the time fall.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'll be a cool.
yeah. I know one of the earlier ideas before the game came out was the using Titanfall to actually heal stuff. So there could be a weird sweet spot that they could do with it. Or like you're saying, reverse engineer, like where it flows backwards in time. Is that what you're kind of
Yeah.
going at?
It's
Mhm.
it,
That would be
it's not what
that'd be
reverse engineering means, but just go, let's just go with it.
Yeah,
right. I know. Yeah. Well, reverse engineer it so they could hack it, so to make
Yeah,
it do
exactly.
what they want with it. Yeah.
yeah. What do you guys think is gonna be the
Oh,
go for
hold on
it?
a second.
Go for it.
What if Timefall works backwards at the other side? Instead of making you old, it makes you young.
Makes sense physically.
Since
So
everything's,
it's
you know,
yeah.
very
So above the equator up in the US makes you older, and then down on the equator actually de-euthanizes you. Or
possible.
I don't know if that or
Maybe you
euthanizes you
go underneath
actually.
the seam because now they're going underneath the seam. Maybe that's something that made Fragile okay. But yeah, it could go either way. It could be reverse engineering, could be the seam going the other way around, uh,
Yeah, because
the other side of it.
that would be weird to change that mechanic.
Mm.
To be honest, though, it would have a lot of weird impacts to the game. But
Yeah,
if it did not erode a object, it actually made it stronger.
that's interesting. Like, give me the time fall. But that's funny. Um,
That's with like structures wouldn't fall apart. They would stay like pristine. Uh,
That or return to their raw materials.
yeah,
that's true too. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
we see a lot of cities in the background to like full on buildings with lights in some of the shots. And that's
Right.
there too.
I
Like
was I was
especially when
hoping
he's
that we
walking on that
actually
bridge, you see a
get
whole
to.
building there in the back.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping at least we get some cutscenes in the cities. I would like to see how the cities
Hmm.
function. It'd be kind of cool to see that. But maybe that's the third game though. So
Probably.
This sort of
there's some
explains if you've read
mysteries.
the books.
Sorry.
In the novelization of Death Stranding,
Hmm.
Sam actually goes down and meets people.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Where? Like where goes where?
Uh, it's described he goes and meets, I think it's the old man. He actually goes down with him. And
Hmm.
there's like a whole chapter. It's one of the
Oh,
first
okay.
chapters in the
So,
books
so
where it talks
you're talking
about
about
life in the shelters.
Down where?
going into a prepper shelter, right?
Yeah, into a prepper shelter. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So he goes
yeah,
within their show. Okay, that makes
yeah.
sense. But it'll be interesting to see
You're
still
talking about like City
surviving.
Not,
Yeah,
Yeah.
is this what you're talking about that you want to see more of, right?
that would be interesting to see that like inside buildings, and if the buildings are more explorable, there's whole cities and stuff that you can explore more
Yeah.
easily. That'll be a fun addition to the gameplay. I think he will need that more indoor stuff. We've already seen that there's more indoor stuff already happening. He did it with the director's cut too. He had added the whole stealth mechanism. He already introduced it through director's cut because we were sneaking around like Snake in that whole new section that we
Yeah,
had, right? So
I'll,
that's already
I'll,
introduced.
I can't wait to try that out for sure.
Yeah. So that's already there. How do you guys think he's gonna change the social strand system? Because the question now is, should we have connected? Is he gonna flip the social strand system into where we were all working together to do stuff? And now we are not. We are going back to more like
Um,
a battle
it would
royale
be
stuff.
it would be interesting if there was a what is it like? I guess V hero demon system kind of thing with it. So it's kind of like you can walk down
Hmm.
one path versus another path. So we can still play the let's
That
still be hopeful and whatnot. But if you don't want to do play that game, you can walk down the
bad core.
more yeah. Because I know like there was a fix that I'm glad that's exists in the director's cut that wasn't in the first one, which I was really excited about uh being a potential was being able to link with you guys. We were randomly linking to random people, and I
Yeah.
Yeah.
think they made a change where we can actually link with a friend on our PlayStation network or whatever network we
Did they?
were.
I have no idea about that.
Yeah, I thought I at least I've read that somewhere. Is now that's a feature in the director's cut that
That'll be
we I can
cool.
actually make friends with you, and then I don't know if
Build
that
stuff. Yeah.
pushes it like higher, so I'll actually see your stuff over everyone else's stuff, which would be really it would have been really fun to have the whole group actually be working together rather
Together,
just
yeah.
than just random people.
Have
It would have been
teams,
really
name your own team, build your own base, start doing delivery. It'll be
right.
fun. It'll be a cool
Yeah.
multiplayer implication.
Well, the thing is if I saw your guys' names, your tag, I would help. I would do it more. I would there would be
Yeah,
more
of
weight to
course.
it rather than just a random person. It
Yep.
was still fun how the bridge links worked. Did you guys periodically as you played it, did you constantly change your bridge link where and let it, released people off your stuff that weren't playing the game?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because
So
it's like, okay, you're not taking care of your stuff anymore. And I need someone that's taking care of their stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I,
The problem is
mm,
playing on the computer
mm,
wasn't
Oh,
actually a
yeah.
problem. It was let's call it a feature.
mhm.
Oh, okay.
It was a renaissance when the computer one came out because
Right.
it was 2 years after everybody had stopped playing on the PlayStation, and
Yeah.
there was thousands of Steam players on the computer version,
Mhm.
and it had this second coming in Japan. I had every single person on my server was Japanese,
Mm.
so I have all these best friends that I've made structures with that I don't know how to pronounce their names.
Yeah.
That's so
That's
cool.
that's awesome though. Like I would love, as Ashley said, like to create your own team. Maybe there are rankings, or world rankings, or what team is doing what, like what they have built, how much they have built, and kind of like, or maybe something like the nuclear disarmament thing where you all work together to create one big, achieve one big
That that
objective.
was a that was a great thing he thought up there.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was awesome. But I
Yeah.
think there's going to be a very drastic change to the social strand system in that sense. He's going to bring out a whole new twist to it too, especially considering the themes changing for the game from
Let me
being
see
going from
here.
connections to breaking them and going from ropes to sticks and I think it's gonna be a lot more different theme-wise, at least the theme of the game and
Yeah.
the game is gonna be very, very different.
Yeah, connected to that earlier statements I was saying earlier with either using BB or the near-death experience stuff to
Yeah,
actually maybe see other players where they've put their buildings, not the buildings, their structures, so
yeah.
that we can actually see where stuff is being placed in a given area, especially with your bridge link. So you can see all these choices. To like, okay, can I uh bring that into the world from that person's world rather than me building it via a
Mhm.
couple of methods, either like fishing idea was talking about, which doesn't make sense because it's not a destroy thing, it's a bridge link thing, which would make more sense would probably be, this when you place the signs down on the ground for a
Mhm.
request. So if you have a structure that's, oh, that's my friend's structure, put the sign, a request sign in it, then the friend does something. It might even prompt like actually a quest
Mhm.
for your friend to do a thing, to do a handshake, and then it'll actually create the structure.
Oh,
So you can
okay.
put up hey, hey, buddy, I want that. I want that thing that you have at your place. Go to there and do the thing so that I can have it too. So it's a
Okay.
little bit more like you're giving these things to people instead of them randomly showing up in their
Hmm.
worlds.
That would be a cool way to have that whole collaborative gameplay work. Um, Another thing gameplay wise I wanted to ask you guys was the sections that we had for Higgs, right? The wars, right? Vietnam War, World War One, World War Two. What is gonna be the equivalent of that in these two? What do you see happen? Because they were very, very different sections. What could happen this time?
with the rifts.
Like, since Higgs is not here anymore, right? So like he will have to have those sections which were completely different kind of gameplay, completely different kind of
Mats. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the cliff
yeah,
cliff
Yeah,
like
stuff.
Cliff.
did I say Higgs?
Cliff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, my bad. No, Cliff.
Yeah.
Cliff section where like World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, and all that. So something equivalent
Yeah.
to that.
Mm.
I thought I was talking to Devesh. Devesh and me talk almost like every day about gameplay and like just Death Stranding too. So you're thinking about maybe something like missions with the Orange Fox, right? We have the where you drop off as the ninja and just go, maybe sneak missions or maybe just kill missions or whatever. So something to do with him because that character seems really interesting. Like sword
Yeah.
play would be amazing in a Kojima game, and he tried it with Revengeance and Rising anyway. So very similar gameplay in that sense. If you can have sections of us playing as that, maybe that could be one of the things, or maybe
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, like but I'm sure there's gonna be something equivalent to the cliff
Right.
section within this game. Maybe
You need
Yeah.
a
fresher.
character to link to them though, because the whole thing was he lived through the
Mhm.
war,
Yeah.
and what was the supercell thing that you lived his memories or something? I can't remember.
Yeah. I think that's like well,
Like what was the canon explanation? I can't remember.
I think it was you living his memories, right? Through
Hmm.
BB or something like that.
Yeah, from what I understand of how that works is full spoilers here, by the way, but I
Yeah.
think we're already there. But the
Well,
the notion of uh we the BB we see in the plug-in scenes when we come out, that's Sam. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's Sam and that's our dad. Dad is
Mhm.
Cliff his dad. So
Yeah.
that's our connection. So he's pulling us in to his beach
Yes.
is what's happening and through different situations and whatnot. The would you call the storm that sucks us up? There's something about
Supercell.
the
Supercell.
supercell.
Mhm.
And I don't know that the explanation of the experience completely within the idea of what is it, memory or whatever. But it seems
Mhm.
like literally we went to his beach. But it seems like we didn't die and go to his beach. We like almost like physically went to his beach. It's kind
Yeah,
of
it
weird.
makes sense because when the first supercell happens,
Mhm.
I forget. I think it's Mama you're talking to on the codec.
Uh-huh.
Like you lose connection for like 15 seconds,
Yeah.
but They have a recording of what happened that's hours long,
Yeah,
so it makes sense.
Oh,
time dilation or
okay.
something like
See
that.
everything slower.
Hmm.
Interesting. So it claps time a little bit there. That
Yeah,
that that's is that Interstellar? What movie is that?
correct. Yeah.
Is
So
it?
there's like massive gravity.
Yeah. There's
Uh,
another one, there's another space one that's similar to that where they just recorded nonsense doing some kind of an alien conversation. I can't remember the top of my head, but yeah, that's interesting. So so what is your guys' ideas? Who's gonna replace Cliff
uh, I think,
besides the ninja?
see, could be Ninja, could be Fragile too. The reason I say Fragile is the first trailer, right? It kind of shows Fragile getting attacked by whoever it is, maybe demons, maybe the new ones, right? And of course we kind of see Lou dying,
Yeah.
but
I
and there's a whole section from where Fragile goes back to Sam, right? That
right,
like, she comes in, but I think through that whole opening section, we might be playing as Fragile. So there might be sections that we visit what she was doing while she was not, until she came back with Sam. So we might be going back and forth, connecting the pieces of the story of what
right.
Fragile went through.
Yeah,
Uh,
that could be umbilical cord, if I can say that right. Scenes like the cliff scenes where we plug into the BT and we
yeah,
see those flashbacks could be connected to those scenes rather than actually playing a boss
playing the
fight kind
whole
of a
thing.
thing in those situations because those feel like very cutscene-y.
It
Is
did. Yeah, it did feel a lot of,
more cinematic. So
yeah. But that could be the opening sequence probably of the game. Uh, it kind of makes sense to have that as the opening sequence of that Stranding.
I could see that be the prologue,
Yeah.
possibly. But then again, I could also see that being, like I said, just interstitial cutscenes throughout the whole thing.
It'll be surprising if the first player you play as is not Sam. It's like you just
Yeah.
Right,
someone totally
right,
different. What
right.
the fuck's happening now?
I do hope he does his prologue thing that he does.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things of how he frames a tutorial. He because it's a vertical slice a lot of the times that helps you
Mm,
get into the rest of the game.
yeah.
That would have been my next question. How
Hmm.
long do you think until you can take your first step from when you start the game?
Oh, at least
Oh,
1.5 hours.
Yeah, 45 minutes,
Yeah, 45 minutes till you just sit,
90 minutes.
drink
Oh,
your
you can play
coffee,
now.
some snacks,
right.
and just watch the gameplay. Okay.
And if you've got that meme where there's like the guy with his control and there's like Hideo Kojima game and then there's this
Yeah,
guy
you
eating.
just chilling with the snack. Okay, one big thing that I did not like, well, I thought it was a little too confusing was the UX UI of the game. Sometimes it's a mess. Like especially when I went back now, like just to try out Death Stranding, I was so overwhelmed with what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like so many things happening in the UI of the game. I think
Yeah.
that's one thing that needs to be worked on gameplay wise. The UI
Yeah.
needs to be a little
Are
better.
you talking about the map specifically?
Everything, yeah, the maps, the a
Okay,
lot of
yeah.
it was very
Point
confusing.
system at the end of the missions.
Yeah, it
It's
was,
just skip, 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 skip.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Because
UI UX,
I know
yeah.
I know they definitely need to fix the map key legend functionality so you can add and remove stuff. Like that's like a normal feature in most games, so you can see specific stuff.
Hmm.
You also really need to have a menu for structures, like all the information, huge info dump of on everything about your structure. There is a place inside the bridge link system. Are you guys aware of this? Where there's like a structure thing, you can see information about
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
structure,
yeah.
but it does not tell its durability, does
Hmm.
not tell you what you need to upgrade it. You can go over and hover over it in the map, which is kind of helpful, but it
Yeah.
would be nice if you could have it all in one space. It's like, okay, that's where everything is. That's the condition. I need to deal with this now, or send someone else to deal with it, hopefully. But yeah.
No,
What
that's
is the worst menu thing that you ran into?
I think it's just too much stuff happening in one place, especially with maps and also when you prep the whole thing, and it's not user friendly in that sense. Like, you really like it took me a while to get used to it when I was playing it the first time too. But when you keep playing, it's okay. You know what the fuck's happening now. You're used to it. But when I jump back to it, I'm like, holy shit! This, especially after playing so many different games too, I'm like, this UI is really confusing. Like if you
Yeah,
don't really follow everything from the because there's so much information being fed to you in the first few hours of the game, and then with the emails, like it's like you're like
Yeah.
kind of like overwhelmed with what the hell's happening in this, because he's not only with Metal Gear games. Yes, there was lore and the story right going on, but the gameplay mechanics were pretty simple to grasp. But with this one, the gameplay mechanic and everything itself is such a huge thing to understand. And with that, he's also giving you this whole very complex story that's happening at the same time. So there's just so much happening at one time with the like the gameplay mechanics and UI and the story and everything. It was a little too
right.
much happening. But I think now that we have understood what's happening, I hope they work on the UI and try and make it more streamlined. As you said, some stuff needs to be like
I
it just
I
needs to
w-
be better.
I want to say that I heard they fixed some of that supposedly in the director's cut.
They
I'm
did.
not positive. I'm not sure what things they tweaked exactly. I'd have to
I
compare it.
think there
But
was a lot of submenus too. Like you keep going into one and then the second and then third, and it's just
yeah, so on the thing you could click on the D-pad to bring over the bar. There's
yeah,
that, and then on this there's like a kind of a log menu, which is really good. Which I wish they actually did a better one of
yeah,
that. I like the existing one, but I want to have a to-do list
yeah.
and a what did I call it? Not just a to-do list, but like an actual
Goal,
like uh
active missions. I think they
I
already
don't.
have that actually.
Hmm.
Yeah, they kind of have that. What it would be is the difference between them is just one is just a bunch of random stuff that you want to get done, and you
Yeah,
can I want to build this. I want to repair that. I want to
yeah,
go look at over here. So it's
yeah.
just a thing to remind you. But then one that's actually using that stuff and other information as a I'm doing this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and that draws the pathing for your
Oh,
plan, for your schedule. So it's like a literal to-do list of like I'm going to go here, and then you can scan and it shows up. So you have
mapping
more
out.
of a mapping out the schedule, especially with the other thing is being able to click on
Hmm.
places and see the information that you would from their normal stuff, but as a view, which you can kind of do in the game. You can see your cargo, your management. You can view your stuff, and then if you click on preppers and stuff like that, you can see your private locker, but you can't
Yeah,
see any missions. You can't see the shared locker, and this stuff would be helpful so you could plan. It's like, okay,
yeah.
what's here? I want to pick this up and grab that, and
Yeah.
then so
You
it's
move on. You can
just
plan more.
doing a huge chain of things and then tell you stop and then you don't want to overdo it so you're too stressed out with your crazy plan. But yeah, that would be very helpful to do a little bit of that.
Yeah,
And maybe not on the front end, at least in the middle of the game to have some of that stuff open up for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I
so
think.
as far as the
Hmm.
planning goes, on my half, I stopped using it after a while. So
Hmm.
at the beginning of the game, you're in first person view, you're seeing the elevation,
Yeah,
and you're saying, okay, so I might need a couple of ladders. You're plotting, you can move the map and make it 3D. So you're plotting where to go. And then by mid game, end of the game, you're just motorbiking over the hills like a goat,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
straight path. So yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, it would be nice if some of the structures and the mechanics had more reason to exist. Watchtower is one of the good examples of this too. Is how often did you guys use the Watchtower?
no, no,
Besides
lot.
the first time that you put it up.
Yeah,
Just other people's to see if there's luggage around, and that's it.
that's
Never
it.
built.
Yeah, yeah. Because the only thing that would make sense for it to really work is if you could do like a wireless connection to it, maybe via an upgrade. then it would be interesting, especially if you
Yeah, to
then could
see what's happening. Yeah.
yeah, play from that perspective. Also, the notion of another structure would be interesting is was a jump point, something that maybe has an inverted, what do you call it, zip line that sends you up to a like a balloon that you can jump off and then, do the glider if we get a glider and the or the stabilizer down from that position. But then also have a
New
camera set
Zelda
up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zelda. Yeah.
towers.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And to then be able to check out the landscape from these positions, and then maybe also another love letter to perspective. So the camera would shift if you switch to these other cameras, and you could still control Sam. So he's like a little guy on the ground versus or this isometric thing from a
Oh,
distance
that'll be cool. Yeah.
with these the cameras. If they were detecting other stuff for you too, like let you know where oh there's chiral crystal hands here, there's packages here because the map doesn't show that information. So
No.
if you blanketed an area with towers that actually gave back feedback so that they had a use rather than be oh I'm looking at the edge of a chiral network is the main purpose it seems for it. It's to say I'm going into outside the network, let's see what I'm getting into, and
Yeah.
that's about it. So
I guess I guess that could work, but that also would kind of kill the exploration part of it, where you actually go and see where things are and just find them as you are going. But I see how it'll be helpful as well. But I think
right, right.
more to the map, and there's
Well,
already so much happening too. So it's just like,
right. Well, one of the key things is if he puts it as upgrades, then you can have best of both worlds.
yeah,
So it's
Mhm.
like you just okay, because one of my favorite thing in video games is when I don't have access to something and I start whining and bitching about it, and then I
mhm,
get it.
yeah,
The developer says, here's the thing that you wanted to exist. And it's like, yes, this feels good. It's a good loop when that happens.
kind
Then
of
I'm
like
like,
kind of like Higgs. The first time we
I-
see him, it's like, isn't this what you wanted?
Yeah.
yeah,
Want a boss
yeah,
fight, right? It's like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
hell yes. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's what I like. Are you tired?
Right.
Are you tired? Like, I can't remember the exact words, but he's like, aren't you exhausted by all these deliveries and this and that?
Tired of the grind.
Yeah, tired of the grind. It's like, are you tired of the grind? So let's. But talking about boss fights, that's one big thing with for me with the DS1, especially coming from all the Metal Gear games. Boss fights were the standouts for me for Metal Gear games, right?
Yeah.
And I think Death Stranding one lacked a lot when it came to boss fights. Especially the
Mhm.
small, they were not as creative or as inventive or as different as I thought they would be.
And pretty much all optional,
Yes.
except
Yeah.
Lake Knot and the hand.
Yeah, the only people we were really fighting were like Higgs and the hand guy, and that's about it. If you don't get dragged by the BTs anywhere, you're not even facing any of the other bosses. So
Yeah.
I think that was one thing that I was missing. But then again, the game was more about connections and more chill
Yeah.
environment. But I would love to see more proper Kojima-esque boss fights in that Stranding too.
Right. Right. It
And
would be nice to also to see a Fox sound. More
yeah,
proper like thing that we're like a group of people would
I-
be nice. They kind of hit at that with the notion of the band. Where's
yeah.
the rest of your band?
I think
Which
what's happening is like even from these first two trailers, we can see there's gonna be more. Like we have already seen characters that are more action oriented than anything else we saw in that stretch,
oh my
right? We saw the
oh,
freaking guitar firing
oh
lightning,
okay.
guy with the sword. We
I
have
I,
the guitar
I
turning
got
into weapons. So it's
I
like
got I got a boss question for this. Do you think all the other bosses are going to have musical weapons? So we're gonna have a drummer. We're gonna have. Uh,
a
I don't know if that was a bass guitar or just electric guitar or whatever. We can have a vocal singer or whatever. Is this the
That'll be
box he's
so
literally
cool.
putting him in?
You throughout the game you fight the guitar guy first and the drums guy then the bass guy and at the final boss fight is a fucking group just fighting the whole.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all of them at all at once.
That'll be funny. I'll be enjoying it more than fighting it. Like yeah.
Eh,
A concert. It was kind of like Alan Wake too, right? With the whole have you guys played Alan Wake?
No,
Oh
not
dude,
yet.
there's a whole section of the guitar. Like there's a whole band in that game, and it's what's the name? Ports of Fall.
Hmm.
Not Ports of the Fall. What's yeah, that is the name of the band, right? That did the main song. But yeah, like I would love to have that whole musical thing, as you said, that would be pretty cool. But Kojima did mention that this game is gonna have Higgs singing a lot. That's
I'm all
why,
for it. More Troy
Oh,
Baker.
yeah, and he chose the
is
Japanese
this going to
voice
be a musical?
accordingly. Sorry?
Is this going to be a musical?
Why the hell not?
Right.
But
Uh,
yeah, it's gonna be fun, like to see how I think Higgs is not just a villain this. I think we're gonna team up with him this time. There's something bigger happening.
that would be a cool, like, fight him at the beginning and then mid to end. He's
Yeah.
on your side. You could be like maybe capturing these guys.
Yeah.
Like if there is literally a band, maybe you're just pulling in all these people onto your side. I don't. Do you think he's like the main boss, or do you think there's going to be someone else
I think there's
that's
going
going
to
to
be
be
someone else. It's too obvious
okay?
right now to
Okay.
just call Higgs the villain. I'm sure there's going to be something else. And
Okay.
We're
something
talking about the guy. We're talking about the guy who's doing triple spies. How do you call it? Triple agents.
triple agent, yeah.
Yeah.
Ocelot.
Ocelot. But another thing Divish pointed out to me, which makes sense, is there's a full action director on board whose name appears on the screen while that whole fight between Higgs and Orange Fox plays out, right? Like it was
Right.
designed by Ryoshi Shinkawa, action direction by I'm forgetting the name, but
Okay. Cool.
so they would hire a full-on action director if there's not a lot of action in the game. You know what I mean? If there's I'm sure there's more fighting sequences, a lot of, and there were a few behind the scenes sequences
Right.
where we saw a lot of like these Japanese artists in the studios with like weapons and shit. It was like a team of like 10, 15 people
Right.
doing a sequence
It's
like a mocap or
Yuji
something.
Shimomura.
Yeah, Yuji Shimomura. So
Shimomura.
yeah,
So,
Shimomura.
do you think that will only exist as cutscenes though?
That's where that's what we
Because
discussed about. It's like it can't just be for cutscenes. If he's like maybe he is action director, maybe
I,
play as
I,
well.
if there's any move set to the character, like to that what do you call him, the orange fox?
Orange Fox is what
Uh,
I'm calling it for now.
okay. Uh, any if there's any like actual move set and we see him or them or her, depending on who it is,
Yeah,
as
her.
as a character, yeah, because of the belly, I would say
Yeah.
her too. Uh, the see like them as an in-game character, because if we only see them as an asset,
Hmm.
as a cutscene asset, then that's then it's then it's they're only doing choreography for that.
Yeah,
But if you
choreography.
actually see them fighting, jumping around, and killing stuff while we're doing stuff normally, that would be cool. That would be fun, a fun buddy for sure to have
Yeah,
that
imagine
person
just going on a
jumping
mission
around.
with a freaking ninja with you.
Right.
That'll
The-
be
And and,
nice.
and yet again, I always like to run back to this. Is that would be a really really cool Sonic 2 thing with Tails, having that be your
Yeah.
Tails. Second controller is like, oh, I want to be here. You play Sam. I'll be the ninja.
Yeah, I'll make deliveries, you slice up people.
Yeah, yeah.
That's that's quite a contrast there. Like I'm just gonna go about making deliveries and you can go kill people.
Well, because the notion of what I'm talking about with the Sonic 2 thing is you're locked in on the camera that the first player is messing with. So you could go off camera, but then within that, the camera could maybe pan out a little bit, or the character maybe just teleports back to into frame if the character goes out of frame, so they can assist, but then
You're talking full
uh
on co-op in that sense.
yeah, technically, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But I don't know if he's gonna go co-op with this one, but
Well, that that would
I doubt it.
I
yeah.
doubt it with the notion of just having to do like connecting a what is it? an infrastructure for online. Couch co-op, I can see him doing.
Yeah.
That's why I say that would work. If you can pick up a second controller and
Mm.
the shot is the characters in the same shot, that is doable.
I don't.
Actually having it be across the internet,
Yeah.
not with how the game's currently set up, because it's what is
He's couch
the
co-op.
buzzword for this type of gameplay where it's like offline
No.
asymmetry. Can't say
Oh,
it.
asynchronous.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
asynchronous. Yeah.
So yeah.
But
So
I don't
there
think Kojima's ever
it's
done couch
uploading
co-op.
our information and then connecting it afterward. But continue, sorry.
Yeah. No, no. I was just wondering, has Kojima ever done couch co-op? I don't think so.
Has Kojima ever done couch co-op?
No. Maybe Zone of Enders? No. Oh, no, no. It's always been one single.
No. It's no. The closest thing that I would say to that is a Psycho Mantis fight.
Yeah.
Where you're
That's
your
the
own second player.
Yeah.
yeah.
I missed that. That's exactly what I meant by Kojima boss fights. So unique. Like
But
even
then again, there was the whole Metal Gear Online.
yeah. But
Hmm.
that was more not really couch co-op, right? That was more just like multiplayer.
No.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I was thinking just multi.
Not a multiplayer
Yeah.
yet. There
Yeah.
is definitely
Yeah.
multiplayer, but
I wouldn't mind them tacking on some kind of a weird feature like that. I think that would
yeah.
be fun to to have some little weird thing. But
But what I think
uh
from all of this discussion that we can come up with is like this thing can go anywhere. Like it's possible that we'll just be the same old delivery guy, just delivering packages and watching everything from the sidelines. And Sam is just on
right.
the side while these guys have like badass action sequences and we're just chilling on the side doing nothing. Or we will be a part of it and we'll actually get to control. But that's what I like about this DS2 is like even though there was so much given in DS1, DS2 is still gonna be a huge mystery because of how things are going and all these little curveballs that he keeps throwing. Like even at the end of the trailer, he goes like, "Oh, that BB was not BB. He was supposed to be destroyed. So who the fuck is that?" Right. So there's a
Right.
mystery to that. Couple of mysteries are still unsolved. The picture of Sam's
Right.
wife with Amelie. Who was that? Where's the
Right.
kid? Like
I
what happened?
I
What are the
yeah.
formulas?
Yeah. Oh, there's a whole new Cupid now, like the different formulas.
Yeah.
So how are they affecting the network connections? If
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of questions, which
Yeah.
I'm glad we have because
Yeah. It would be interesting if they try to somehow make the current BB 28
yeah.
BB 28. Okay. I know I can never remember the number for BB.
Maybe
But if it's 28,
yeah, I think so.
okay.
Mm.
That it might be his daughter
Yes.
that died. I
Yeah.
know that at least that's like fuzzy out there. That's definitely like one of the things. I know the other weird fuzzy thing is his wife. Is it Lucy? Is that her name? What is
Lucy
his
was
wife?
Cliff's wife. Oh, no,
Uh,
no,
What was the PT ghost called? Lisa.
Lisa. Lisa
Lisa
was
was
Lisa.
his wife.
Cliff's
Lisa.
wife. Lucy, I'm not sure.
Li-
And
Yeah.
not
And
he.
that's Fox, by the way, in some language I can't remember, which is interesting.
Oh, cool.
Uh,
Lisa.
yeah, Lisa means fox in a language. I would have to look it up again to which specific language that is, but
Vintage.
uh the but trying to think. But the notion of the also fragile kind of feels like she might be his wife somehow too, in a weird way. At least they're doing almost like a Silent Hills like tilt to these people
Maria.
like
Maria.
being them but not being them kind of a thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
at least that's the weird kind of vibe that I'm getting from them. Because you know, like the last scene that you see with Sam and Fragile, how his personality just like it feels like he changes. He's like, "Oh, we're all a happy family.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
got
yeah.
everyone back to the base." And it's like, and he like gives her the finger basically and walks out the door. It's and he goes back to being like
Normal.
weird again. And it was just like, what happened to your personality?
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is I know one of the loose theories that I still like want to be like at the end of this game when the shoe drops is that Sam is a vehicle himself and it's being literally controlled and puppeted by someone, and that someone is us technically. But
Hmm.
I like the notion of driving him around. I also like the notion of him being a giant kaiju because the size of him compared to how the distance of the map, but
That's,
it logistically doesn't fully work.
yeah.
But
Well, I think we did present quite a few ideas, but we're all gonna be
do
surprised, I think, by the time
r-
we actually see gameplay. I'm excited to see the gameplay, by the way.
right, same here, same here.
Yes.
I know that there's like some bullet points I would like to hear from you guys
Yeah.
for sure. Like dooms, gear, vehicles, structures, you know what you're hoping for that direction. Environmental uh um new environmental stuff besides just natural disasters and stuff like that that we might come across, and ways to actually navigate it and whatnot. Do you guys have any of that stuff in your head?
Well,
Like
see, that's
a
the thing with Death Stranding director Scott. He already presented like jetpacks and there's so much already there that you could think of. That's why I was like, kind of like, what else can we add? We already have bikes, we already have trucks, we have
oh, okay, all right,
all
okay.
of that.
Do you have anything, Johnny, or do you need to start reading off my list?
We talked about it before. Wind would be pretty cool.
A what?
Wind
Wind?
track of.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wind would be fun.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Because if you go in the wrong direction, you get wind, you get knocked over.
Mm,
yeah, yeah.
It could
I would
cool.
agree.
That'll make
Yeah,
it even tougher.
especially if it's really strong. Having the map, you know how the map has the timefall weather
Yeah.
system to
Yeah.
have it also have other alerts.
Yeah.
I guess kind of like this what is it, Metal Gear Solid V2 with the warnings of sandstorm and whatnot. So yeah, because I know like for example, a lot of the stuff that is in my head is improvements of on existing stuff. So the anchor system to be
Mm-hmm.
able to daisy chain anchors to be able to remove anchors
Yeah.
would be nice. Even though I know there is this notion of that, you want to leave stuff behind for other players, but I wish you could at least have an upgraded version where there's one that you can have on your person that's what it's there for.
Mm.
It's for you, not for someone else. But you can abandon it if you want to.
But I
Uh
missed that. Sorry. What are we talking about?
Anchors.
Anchors.
Like anchor points?
The things you
Ah, yeah,
stab
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah. Okay,
with
okay.
a strand, so be
Mm-hmm.
able to daisy chain them. So put in an anchor, put another anchor, and then actually have these anchors go onto walls
Yeah.
too, so that you can daisy chain the anchor so we can actually climb up and rather than just down from
Mm-hmm.
position.
Yeah.
Um, Ladders
Because there
also
was
with
nowhere to climb up, actually.
no,
Was
well,
my point.
ladders. You use ladders to get
Yeah.
up, and then you would get up the top, and then put a rope to go down,
Mm.
and then you would just have a weird ladder there. You could destroy it, I guess. But ladders would be nice to be able to pick up too. Obviously, yet again, a ladder that is an upgraded version of it, because I do like the notion of the ones that lock in and they're permanent. But also daisy chaining those so that then you could also do like more like you're hiking up and then down again, so that can sandwich. You can do the angle of it and then put like a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of them together to run across. So it's more scaffolding-esque also. You could even do one ladders that go straight up and then over and then down, and
Yeah,
then
I would
create
love to see
maybe
the
like
structures people make with that.
yeah, weird structures and stuff like that to get you into places.
First thing
Doing like
is a dick shaped
yeah, 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 yeah.
structure.
It
First
would, it
thing
would
someone's gonna build.
right, right. Having foundations would be nice too to build on as
Mhm.
well. But what else is the timeful covers would be really nice to have to put on the stuff on your hover carrier, not just your backpack
Yeah.
and your bike.
If there is time for though.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
We I don't think we've seen any evidence of that, which is really interesting, especially with all the vehicles that he's running out on are like open.
Yeah.
They're not like closed vehicles. I know when my friends had a problem with Sam driving in the rain without a face protection. I wish they had the oxygen mask or the gas mask to be able to turn to wear it without it being on to protect his face from stuff, so it act a little bit different.
Yeah.
Unless they had like his glasses do something weird, like what's her name's Fragile's umbrella, where it like
Mm.
vibrates, so it keeps stuff off of his face when he's driving on the bike. But that was a nitpick from him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I know I wish we could pick up enemies' weapons. That's the other thing, like the
Yeah.
throwing with
Years.
electrical
It's weird
spears.
thing, yeah.
We see the bots have those staffs. That would be fun to run around with those and whack people if they use them
Yeah.
in that manner.
I'm glad he's adding
Uh,
that you can leave your backpack before you go into action. You just drop it off.
yes. Ah,
Because you
yes.
have to drop
Same here.
everything.
Yeah, I love
Yes. It's
it.
such a good idea. I thought that was going to be a thing because you know when you lay down and you unlinks it
Yeah.
to rest, I thought that was going to be a thing. You rest and then you get up from out of that and then it leaves it in that position,
Hmm.
which would be amazing.
That's
Um,
I'm glad he did that. Yeah.
this was an idea that I had, but it got it's a thing apparently. I wanted cargo nets to wrap around your floating characters, but floating carriers, but apparently you can take a strand and wrap up the stuff with a strand in the director's cut.
What the fuck, really?
Yeah,
I had
to
no
secure it.
idea.
Did you do this at did you do this at all, Johnny? When you did you play the director's cut at all? Or
Yeah,
see
you
anybody do
wrap the
this?
packages
You can secure it with your strand
on the
on
carriers.
on the carrier.
I did not know that. I know that the carriers follow you on the
Yeah, they float on the across the thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah, you can actually
cool.
secure them, which
Oh,
is really cool.
interesting.
I did a picture. I don't know if you guys saw it. If I don't even know if I posted it. It's like a dirigible kind of balloon system with a floating character, stringing it upside down and adding an attachment so that they would float
Yeah, yeah,
behind
yeah.
Sam,
I remember
and then
that.
you could double stack that with ground ones and then ones above. But mainly the reason why I was wanting that is so you could get on a bike and then just drive really fast with extra stuff.
Hmm.
But I think they actually added a new bike that has a back carrying thing on top of it too to add more uh carrying
cargo.
capacity. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, like what would you call that? Um yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head. But
Hmm.
yeah. Uh, I know one of the things that we were talking about on the what is it called? Chatting before is the five-starring people actually
Hmm.
giving you more special equipment because there's the special like blood. Is it blood? No, is it blood grenades that he gets that there's the special grenades?
You get the double blood
Double
grenades
blood. Yeah.
that you can you hold it pressed and it charges with the blood.
And that's a unique item that's only you only get that from that one prepper, right? That creates them.
Hmm.
Is this
You get
correct?
it from the engineer, I think.
Yeah. And
Yes, that sounds right.
yeah.
And then there's also superior blood packs too that you can get from the
Hmm.
doctor. So it'd be nice with because this is another thing that I feel like is just a waste of stuff. That there's all these things for these people. After you five-star them, there's no reason to give them their stuff that's laying around their
Yeah.
area. So it's like the only thing that they do is to send it to other players for their game, which is kind of cool. But it would be nice to be able to farm that stuff to these players to then get resources, to get like the condensed, smaller versions of materials, which is the other one, where an XL turns into a medium size thing, but it's the same amount of like
Yeah, it's like the
uh
lightweight
Hmm.
yeah, lightweight
substances.
versions of stuff. But that would be nice, and it would be also really good for the maintenance side of or automation side of the back end of the game if they had that in
Hmm.
it.
And when
But
you're building roads,
Yeah.
yeah,
because they've got
yeah,
like truckloads full of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
because this type of a thing would go back into the notion of a loop where if stuff is getting destroyed all the time, then you need to have something grinding resources to rebuild stuff constantly, kind of a thing. So
Cool.
into that loop. So, but yeah. Oh. I know that there's this. Did you guys have a problem at all with the notion of when your blood pack and your guns and stuff that where you got mainly blood pack is where I had this issue is
Mhm.
there's like so much usage out of it, and then you have one that's like three bars down. You know how that has the three little icons,
Hmm.
but then there's a little percentage, and it's like okay, I have that much. I don't really want to take this one out. Let's throw this into my private locker, and then you have a bunch of like half used stuff because you always want to go out with a full blood pack. You don't
Yeah,
want to, or a full grenade. So you have a bunch of half used stuff. It would be nice to be able to consolidate that stuff down into one thing and either use it yourself or donate that consolidation to another
combine it.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah, combine it, which is just another thing I think as a gift would be really fun. It's just like, oh, okay,
Just
let's
put it in the
actually
locker. Here's my blood to blood donation.
well, the thing is taking the process of doing that and then recycling the rest of it. So the excess is recycled. The stuff that you're putting down to is given to a friend, especially if you can designate your friend. Like you could like just like spam your friend with a bunch of gifts because you were in a boss fight and
Yeah,
only got all your stuff down to like
Have some blood pack and
halfway
you're shit at the
halfway.
game.
yeah. Like here's your blood.
Yeah,
Here's my shit. Here's my piss for
yeah,
you. Go
yeah.
have fun.
That's something else I know that I have a problem with is I wish there was something to do with the urine and the shit water that you have grenades because they go to the wayside too. There needs to be a way to have them not be useless. I don't know what it is
They're
that would
good for
be with that.
baiting though.
Yeah,
Huh?
I used to use them for baiting.
Baiting? Okay, explain this to me.
Yeah, you throw them in one direction and the BTs will move towards it because it's got your smell.
yeah.
And then you
Oh.
just go
Is
forward.
is which one is this specific? Is it both
The
that will do that?
sweat and the
Or
urine.
The sweat and the urine.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like an empty clip then
Distraction.
from Metal Gear then.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, all right.
The
I
only use for it.
Yeah.
That and you can color the BTs with it.
Yeah. They will go
You throw
red.
it directly on the BTs, you can see them.
Yeah.
okay. So you can mark them with it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool too. Okay, that I didn't use them enough. After I got the grenades, then I started doing that. That's basically how I killed most of my BTs
Mm.
is throwing grenades. Um, but yeah. Uh, I know I said earlier double jump legs. I know
Hmm.
that would be fun, especially with the notion of like or other versions of that notion. I know that I would probably have a little bit of a problem with that because I would want to be able to run. You could because you can run and super jump, but the notion of being able to run and then double jump, I don't know if you could actually combined a swap out like that fast enough, like where you're running with one legs, slow down your run, not slow down your run, but like slow down time while opening your menu for your to swap out your legs to move into a double jump. But that
I mean,
that 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 what are you saying?
like Mario double jumping Mario, like Mario everywhere. That'll be interesting. But I like the
Wall running would be good.
which one?
Huh?
Wall running.
Wall running, yeah.
Yeah, so like you need to get to a higher
Climbing.
vantage point. You run a bit on the wall and then you climb up.
Ah, wall running. Yes, yes, yeah. That would be a nice feature for
You know
sure.
how
Maybe,
many times there was just a tiny little cliff and I
yeah,
didn't have a bloody ladder on me.
yeah.
Right. The other thing that would be also interesting to see is like Higgs's chiral mask tech, if they reverse engineer any of that kind of stuff at all.
Mm,
If we can do anything along that line. I know one of the things would be fun is to be able to if we dive into kind of Doom stuff to actually be able to summon uh white versions of Sam
yeah.
into our world to do stuff or actual like white versions of the creatures that we're fighting,
Mm,
which would be kind of a Pokemon summoning thing slash what is it um gosh what are the things in Elden Ring called? Are they just called summons in that?
yeah, summons.
Okay. Yeah, something weird along that line I could see as well. But is there any other like gadget stuff that you guys can think of that you that you've wanted at all?
I don't think so. No, like
The what you call it, like the one in Zelda, I don't know the like. Oh my God, I don't have the word for it anymore. You know, like Batman has that you throw and then you pull yourself up.
Grappling
oh,
hook?
Grappling hook, thank you.
grappling hook.
Hey, it's been a long day at work.
No, 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 you're
You
good.
kind
You're
of
good.
have
That's
that for grabbing the things, the
yeah,
bot.
the sticky gun.
You stick,
Yeah.
you grabs it and things, but you want something that we
Yeah,
pull
like
Yes.
from the,
Yeah.
from peak to peak, you shoot it,
yeah,
and then you can settle it down like an anchor, and then you can like wedge yourself across.
yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
nails just to nail it on the wall and have like grabbing like a
Yeah,
climber's,
that's what Ash was saying before to
yeah,
climb up.
Yeah.
climbing up
Yeah.
exactly like a like
Yeah.
a horizontal one rather than,
I agree. Like yeah, a line to go across that would be fun. I'm trying to think because you could have a gun run that, and I think that would be a cool upgrade path thing. But
mm,
then again, with the notion of daisy chaining, um, anchors, you could have the gun fire anchors, but then
Yeah,
also you could do the same zip line kind of thing that you're talking about
yeah,
via climbing up to a point, putting an anchor into the point, climbing back down again, climbing across while still having that line and then anchoring it onto the other side and then
mm,
pulling out the slack.
yeah. So like
So that
double ropes,
yeah,
like
yeah, right.
double-ended anchors.
Yeah, double anchors. But that would be the hard way to do it
mm,
until you got the upgrade for that. And it's just fire an anchor across the way and then just slide across it, which would be really cool. Which would be really cool. I'm glad that you brought that one up. That would be sick for
we're
sure.
gonna get a lot of
Uh,
that we probably think we've thought of, but we'll see something like, oh, the fuck did he think of this?
Right, right. I know like I don't know if they're gonna bring back the zip lines, but I know one of the issues that I had is managing like being able to terraform a little bit so
Mm.
that I have a friend's zip line that's here and my zip line's here and there's this one stupid thing in the way and I wish I could just chop it off, knock it out, void it out or something, destroy it, just so I can make these things connect.
Connect.
I know I wish we could also like move our structures too. Is one of the big problems I have because when you upgrade a thing, it tears itself down. It turns it into this nothingness and then rebuilds itself.
Mm,
So technically what it should be able to do is turn back into a PCC, possibly as a locked version of whatever it is. So it can't be whatever. It can only be a bridge if you build a bridge with it, but then you can move it. Because if you
yeah,
put it down wrong, then you have to destroy the whole thing and then try to do it again, which is
yeah,
a pain in the ass.
yeah,
And it would be, and if it was an upgradable thing, like this is not something that out of the gate, you still have to suffer at the beginning, and then you get
yeah.
this thing later down the road, then that would help manage the notion of you get a toil a little bit at the
Mm,
beginning versus it being just easy. But yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, there's kind of, I think we're gonna get some gameplay at Tokyo Game Show. I'm hoping we do. I hope we get to see what the gameplay is gonna look like. I think now it's like he's already given two trailers with story and stuff. I think now he's shown some gameplay too, but without like not like proper gameplay, but he's shown like snippets of how it's gonna look at least. But I would love to see like a small gameplay snippet or
He's also posting tons of the posters of Who Am I?
but those are the Japanese ones, right? He
Yeah,
already introduced them.
unless they're gonna show. I think he did that with Death Stranding 1, where he just showed the trailer but in Japanese dub.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
He
Yeah.
did that, but like he also
Uh,
he had two
we
TGSs before the release of GS1, I think, and the first one was more introduction of Higgs. That was all that they talked about it, and the small snippet of Higgs that he had. Then there
Hmm.
was one where he actually had introduction of
gameplay.
characters in Japanese, like Dead Man's snippet, Mama's snippet,
Mhm.
Yeah,
those in
yeah.
Japanese. So I think that could be what's gonna happen at Tokyo Game Show this time, that he's gonna introduce those characters on the screen, on the stage, or this guy is gonna be playing Dead Man, and they're gonna be like a small short clip
Uh,
of them.
okay, okay. We have a Japanese actress, right?
Yes.
We
Surely.
could see more of her and see her English dub and her Japanese dub
Yeah, I think she's gonna be
at the same time. She would be the one that could be revealed as the new character
yes.
and see the old stuff.
Yeah.
And we kind of see her in that one photo.
Yeah, we do. The legs and the other one. But I think Shioli was like our bet for who's gonna show up secretly on the stage, because she's doing both Japanese and English versions, and it makes sense to have her on the
Yeah,
stage. She's Japanese, so I think we're gonna see Shioli's character and at TGS, and hopefully a trailer
that
before
would be
TGS.
cool.
All right. Anything else you guys wanna add, and then we can wrap this up.
Oh, uh, let me see here. What do I got here? I know I would like to see more of those the five floating figures.
Oh,
I'd
yeah,
like to
they've been a
them to lean
mystery.
more into
Well,
that.
Heavily
kind of.
featured in the first one, big disappointment.
They were probably the five,
Yeah.
like Dead Man, Die Hard,
They
and
they
Heartman, Fragile. Maybe those were the five. That was also kind
they
of like,
they 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 hinted at that at the ending a little bit, but then they're also at the beginning of the game, so it just
Mhm.
just
that
doesn't make sense.
consistency
Yeah,
doesn't make sense. So there's something else there. Uh,
probably like
I know like yet again the love letter stuff is having like maybe more wave race jet moto kind of stuff. I know like the otter suit. I hope they kind of bring some that kind of thing back again, but make it work better. Because
yeah,
I know what I wanted to try to do is actually to let Sam get in a river and just float down the river because the floating character floats on the water, so I could just do get places without having to do anything. Just the problem is if you hit into a rock, you climb under the rock. If you uh bounce off a rock, you'll still stand up. So there would need to be a mechanic where it kept Sam in that. It would also be funny for him to sit in a floating character carrier and then, you know,
but
paddle
imagine
himself around.
kayaking just.
Yeah.
That was another idea. A kayak that was made out of chiral material later on the back end, so you could
Yeah,
actually do it in tar.
knowing
Go
Kojima
kayaking
is
in
gonna be a
tar.
rubber duck, a big ass rubber duck on the river. You're just floating on it.
Uh, the other notion is back to your Mad Max doing car battle stuff, Twisted Metal Mad Max style. So he's actually maybe adding armaments and stuff like that, more sticks to his vehicles to
But I
defend
heard the
himself.
driving mechanics in the director's cut were bad. The race, I heard the handling of the car was just horrible.
Oh, he really needs to fix the driving mechanics
Yeah.
really bad. The vehicles, I feel like I know SnowRunner stuff would be fun with it.
Hmm.
I know one of the other things I felt like would be a cool upgrade for vehicles is maybe actually have magnetic roads with also vehicles that you can swap out tires and other parts of it to enhance it, kind of like they do in like Mad Max and what is it, Days Gone, kind of stuff with that
Yeah,
bike.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but be able to actually lay down the actual roads instead of just doing the normal like uh paving that they do.
Yeah,
That
like you can
locks,
choose where to put them.
yeah. Yeah, you could choose to put in these little like what would I call them? Bridges that aren't bridges. They're like little sections of roads that connect together. Basically, kind of what you got with like back in the day with what is it? Hot Wheels back in the day, but maybe the shorter
You know, like
connectors.
tracks.
Yeah, tracks basically. But uh have have versions where it's magnetic so that we could do weird stuff, maybe do loop-de-loops and crap like that with it. But this would be an end game thing because if you could build a road up a wall and then over, then you could literally just, drive a vehicle, in a weird way over a mountain and stuff like
More
that.
control on how you put your structures down could be worth it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
People are gonna be
Uh,
making roller coaster.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
right. I know one of the other things with the vehicles is batteries. I wish you could take the batteries off of a vehicle and put it on another vehicle because there was like different slots for some of the different stuff. That I also wish I could carry it with me so then I could add it to a vehicle. So then it has more battery life. The also notion is if I'm carrying it, that it should be act like a battery for myself as well to extend my
Hmm.
charge for my stuff as well. Um, the other interesting thing is to have the unicycle that Fragile has
Yeah,
in the uses
that
in the
would be
first one.
a
That
first trailer.
that Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that really looks like it can like be a folding bike, but that would be cool if you could actually pack that with you and then deploy it. If
Sure, it could
not
be.
that, go ahead.
Just, I'm sure it's gonna be usable.
Yeah,
Just
I think it's usable. I'm just talking about being able to turn it into like a pack like an extra large package and set it on my thing and then deploy it. It seems
probably,
like it's a
probably.
fix a fixed thing though. But there's a notion of what is it? Having maybe a vehicle where you can actually put it together, kind of like the World War II Jeeps, where they're easy to assemble, where you
Hmm.
can like basically strip it down and you know put it together. So you're taking like a shittier version of the tri bike with you while you're walking somewhere, and then you can take the tires, the three tires that you have with you, and like it's broken up into like three sections with the chassis and whatnot, stuff like that. But
That'll be a lot of gameplay.
It's like modular vehicles.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, modular vehicles and the notion of being able to break it down. So okay, if you're stuck somewhere and you want to cross something that you can't take the vehicle across, if you can break down the vehicle into pieces, then you can at least ship it across. And
Hmm.
if you don't have room, you can ship it across in sections. You can
yeah.
walk across it with a ladder and then come back and get them and just do it by hand. But yeah, uh, but yeah, I know I have more, but I don't want to
All
keep
good.
you guys for too long.
No, no, all good. It's just that I have to be somewhere in like half an hour.
Okay,
That's
sounds good.
or else I would have let you go on because it's always because when you listen to stuff, you get ideas from there too. Like, yeah, oh, this is really interesting. That's what I thought too. But I think we're gonna find out quite a bit soon. I don't know if the gameplay is gonna be more like a state of play thing. Remember, Sony has a lot of state of play specifically for certain games, like a Last of Us state of play, Ghost of Tsushima state of play, where they just focus on that game for 20 minutes or 25 minutes with gameplay. I think that's something that we can have this year.
I hope so. I hope
Yeah,
so.
I I for some reason thought the Game Awards 10th anniversary was last year. That's why I went last year. It's actually this year. So I'm like, oh fuck. I was trying to go to the 10th anniversary. I miscalculated apparently.
Ah.
But
Mm,
yeah, it's this year, so hopefully I think we're gonna get something within the next 2 weeks in a state of play for Death Stranding and more stuff
mm,
at TGS. Game Awards, I don't think we're gonna see Death Stranding. I think we see OD
Hmm.
at Game Awards. And then after that, the only thing we kind of see is gonna be like a 20-minute showcase for Death Stranding 2, and then one final launch trailer, and then we're good to go on
mm.
whatever the launch is. So I'm expecting March, April to be the release date or summer. Fingers crossed. That'll give us enough time. I don't know if Asher, but I was trying to plan a trip to Iceland. Hopefully,
Oh, cool.
yes, before the release of Death Stranding 2, hopefully. I'm
That
still trying
should
to
be fun
work
for
that
you.
thing out. So, um, yeah, if you want to join, you're more than welcome. I'm asking every person that we met through Death Stranding. I want to make a documentary off of it. We're
Oh,
gonna
cool.
we're gonna kind of record everything. Like each one of us is going to record our journey getting to Iceland, and I'm going to shoot some documentary style, some question and answers. And it's going to be more about like, uh, what Kojima wanted from this game. This was connections and how we made connections and talking about that. And so there's a whole thing that I have planned. I'm starting to write it down. Um, so I'm hoping the game comes out in summer because I want to do this trip before the game releases and release it before the game releases. So hopefully by March or April we can do that trip to Iceland and record that. But yeah, that's another thing that we are hoping to do. It only makes sense because we got to know each other how long ago now? Like freaking when did we start talking? 2016?
18.
Is that when we started talking? Yeah,
I think
18.
I had just started my PhD.
Okay, yeah, so it's been what, 6 years? A long time. So yeah, so
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
it's about time we meet in person. So hopefully that'll
I've
work.
met Danny.
Oh yeah, you met Danny. Yeah,
It was easy though.
yeah, you're in Italy. Come on. But no, Devesh is also on board with that, and I want to do the whole ring road thing in Iceland. You go through all these different things. So they have this whole thing. You're gonna have I'm thinking of doing like a camper thing, two cars where you can sleep inside the car because you can't have Airbnbs like on every corner of the of Iceland because it's like a good 8 to 10 day trip, easy. Because
Mm.
it's a whole ring road that you gotta follow and there are different stops, but they have tons of camping sites and everything. And it's I was really researching into it because I was like, let's make a proper trip out of it. And apparently Iceland is really expensive.
Yep.
Fucking expensive. I saw the pricing. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like $25, $30 for just a small meal. Like at a restaurant, it's expensive.
Oof.
Um, yeah, but what people usually do is just have their own, they rent out like a camper thing and with their stove and everything, they're making noodles or whatever, this living the nomadic life, being Sam
Mhm.
basically. So
Right.
yeah. Anyway, this was fun. I think we had quite a few ideas and I'm sure we have tons more. And they keep coming to and we keep talking about it and
Right.
we keep
I know I
Oh
have
no, we
have
have to do another
yeah.
episode.
yeah. I
I
know I
think
have one last one I want to cram in.
yeah, go for it.
And you guys maybe can help correct me because if this is not a th if this is a thing, then it's sad. But in the menu of with a map, when you're marking from you can mark from Sam to a location with a distance measurement. Is there a way to mark from a location to a location that's separate to measurement, or is it always showing back to Sam, right? The measurement.
I have no idea. It's been so long.
Okay, because that was one of my things that I really
Yeah,
wanted to be able to do
I
is to
don't
measure
remember.
just two distances between each other in the game.
I think you can.
You think you can? I think you can in the way of you have to do math. You would have to do two and plus Sam to that thing and then minus Sam from a well, if Sam is A to B and then C, then you would have to minus A to B's distance and then look at what those twos are. But I think,
Basically, you need an Asian
but
excuse.
I don't think it does that. I don't think it shows from point to point. It just shows a line from Sam to another line that doesn't exist from Sam to
I think if
stuff.
you
But
click
I'm
on one point and drag
okay.
from that point, it will tell you the distance between those two.
2 points.
Drag.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to check that. Thank you.
yeah.
Because
It's been a
if
while
that's
now,
That's what I
so
remember too. Yeah.
don't quote me
if
on it.
if there's that's a functionality, but yeah, I think that's the only last. I know I have some other ones on here, but they're not as organized as some of these other ones I was
We
talking to
can
you guys
have
about.
another one before, like we can do it next week too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
Do
I
it
know
more
like
often. The podcast, I think I do want to get into
right,
actually
right.
coming to release. I just want to talk more about it.
Well,
Sure, with more footage, we're gonna
eh,
talk about it.
yeah, and after we get see more footage, we're definitely gonna want to talk about it
Yeah, exactly.
for
So
sure, for
fingers
sure.
crossed we see something in the next well, we're gonna see something by the end of this month, but hopefully in the next 2 weeks too with the state of play.
Right.
Go from there. Excited to for the last. This is like the last 1 year that we're gonna talk more about, and hopefully have more sessions and podcasts, and just have those discussions on the group too. Thank you guys for joining in. This was a good, good discussion. Had a lot of fun. It was awesome.
How's that?
I'm excited for new merchandise too. Actually, I want to see what they come up with for Death Stranding too.
Yeah, yeah. The ring.
Yes,
The ring,
hopefully.
the
I
new
hope they
Yeah.
make
Cupid.
the ring. I'll
The
get
new
the ring.
Cupid, yeah.
If
Yeah,
I
that
hope
will
that's the
definitely be.
collector's to get a functional lit ring, that'll be awesome.
Have you
Oh
seen the
wow.
Preacher's watch?
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous,
Yeah.
way out of my price
Yeah, I
range.
know the price range is insane on that. But all right, guys. I hope you guys
Great to
have
see
a
you again.
wonderful rest of the day, and we'll be chatting soon. And yeah, thank you again.
Cool.
Take care.
Ciao.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye.